What is happening, Dolphins fans? And welcome to another episode of the Fins Tailgate with your host, El Capitan. So tonight, on a tailgate party that never seems to stop, I'll have my co-host, color commentary, up here with me. Now that the dust has settled, now that time and space and distance has been put between us and the Dolphins draft, we're going to take a little bit go through the draft picks. Look, okay, in draft night, we did the draft show. Shout out to Shake who held it down. Everybody came through. TFTG. You get one, immediate reaction feelings are exactly that, right? And now that time has settled and dust has settled and stuff like that, we're going to revisit it. And we're going to go through all the draft picks. We're going to look at the UDFAs. We're going to measure and grade some of these, draft picks, the entirety of the draft, whatever. Look at maybe what some of the other people have graded in, mainstream media type nonsense. Also, we'll ask some questions about this. Did we get better? Are we a different team now from 2023 to 2024? Are we a better football team? We'll look into that. Also, AFC East, what happened in the divisions around us? Did the AFC East get better or worse? And how did the Dolphins fare? Interesting questions, obtuse observation. Also, Jalen Phillips and Jalen Waddle getting extensions. We'll touch on that as well. Hit the like button on your way in. Let's get right into it.
Turner Yell makes the stop in the secondary for Denver. 1st and 10. The fake. Good. Block in there, and down it goes. Caught at the 30. This is the dynamic Hill. He's in for set. Tyreek Hill. Touchdown. What a block.
Take into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be fucking sour. Take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder. Work until you're prouder. And all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it.
Yes, so we are back in action. TFTG, El Capitan in the crib. What it is, what it do. Lou in that. Lou, damn, I'm calling out Lou's name. No, Color, my fault. Coming up here, co-hosting with me. I know. Well,
I'm looking that good these days, bro.
Yeah, dog. Looking good. Shout out to everybody in chat getting in here real quick. Hit the like button on your way in. Let's make sure we have all the likes up. Crazy Dolphin family in the house. Hit the like button. Telling everybody support TFTG. Subscribe if you new. Flava J in here. Jamie, what's good? What's going on? Member up in the crib with the Flava. Fit Insanity. Hello. Thank you for coming through. Michael K in here. I see you, Michael. Never miss an episode. Fred, what's up, Fred? Hit the like button, everybody. So, Color draft had happened. You were there. We were there. Well, you kind of were late. You fucking slept in on one of the things. I remember that. There's been some reactions, some positive, some negative. Now that time is going, I'm seeing a lot of people get on the Chop Robinson train. So let's just get right into it, right? Dolphins in the first round with the 21st pick select Penn State linebacker / edge rusher Chop Robinson. And to me, right, seemed like a bit of a reach. I even tweeted right after that. I was like, ugh.
Well, you left out extraordinaire.
That's true. I did leave that part out. I tweeted out after that pick. It felt like the Steelers sniped us, right? It felt like the Steelers got our pick, and the Dolphins. I called it it looked like a panic pick, and it kind of did in some ways, right? It just kind of looked like, well, Chop Robinson's there, highest rated edge rusher left on the board. No one's disputing that. And look, I had several, not several, I had like 2 mock drafts, and both times I took Chop Robinson. Again, though, the board was significantly different with the amount of quarterbacks that were taken. Nobody had 6 quarterbacks taken in the first 20 picks, or not even that. What was it? The first 13 picks, 6 quarterbacks taken or some shit like that? I can't remember. My point is that with the glaring holes of need in the trenches on the interiors of the offensive line and defensive line, I thought we would go there in that direction. I thought we would take hopefully day one starter at the O-line or D-line. I get it. We added 1,700 defensive tackles, signed that guy, Tart. We do have Benito Jones is back now. Like, okay, whatever. I'm not going to go into all that. My point is I just kind of figured we were going to go in the interior. And it felt like that it was a bit of a, I don't know, like a panic pick. They were like, oh, they got caught holding the ball. And the last time I can remember feeling like that when a pick was Charles Harris. It really was. It felt like the same exact thing, the pick before us. And they went to the digital data, right? Like they did with Charles Harris. The digital data with the measurables and the speed and the first step and the way he opens up a fucking, I don't know, stupid way he opens doors, the way he ties his shoes, the way his hair is cut, all that stuff, right? They went to the data part over the obvious production part. Charles Harris shouldn't have got picked by the Dolphins. Should have picked TJ Watt. You know what I'm saying? It was like, well, if we're picking edge rusher, why we pick this guy? And then it was all hype. It was like, well, look at him. It's huge. He's super fast. He's this, he's that. I want to say it was rated an A- on a lot of the old friggin' mainstream media. When we picked Charles Harris, they were giving it like an A- across the board.
Well, wouldn't that have been like Mike Mayock's board back then, dude? Like, no wonder. You know what I mean?
well, not just Mike Mayock. Like there was like a list I seen. There was a bunch of people that had it. Right? It was NFL. It was fucking ESPN. It was, CBS Sports. They all had A-, B+, all that stuff for a guy who essentially, I don't even remember him. I can't remember a single solitary play from Charles Harris. Not one. Not one. First round draft pick, Charles Harris, in the past, not that long ago, can't remember one single thing. Nada. What's up, Joe? Salute, homie. Hit the like button on your way in, bud. Raph, I see you. What's going on, Raph? G with the 2 phones. Hit the like button, buddy. Doll, I see you over there on X. What's up, Doll? I'm gonna be getting with you here directly, Doll. About that thing we were talking about. Bill's fake crowd noise coming through the hood. Salute to Cap for Life, the homie in here. And salute to what is it, Gunkadoose? Hell yeah. Freaking Gunkadoose color. I ran into a Gunkadoose in the fucking woods.
Gunkadunce is a Gunkadunce.
Gunkadunce? I like Gunkadoose better, dog. I ran into a Gunkadoose in the woods.
You are whatever Capitan calls you around here.
Scared the ever-living shit out of me, bro. I thought I was going to get killed in the woods when I ran into it.
That's why it's good to be captain.
That's how I read it. It's how it is. I do have a little dyslexia, so just bear with me, Gunkadoose. You know what I'm saying?
Like most people in a position of authority, sure.
Sure, yeah, whatever. Anyhow, so yeah, I guess I mean I don't know if it's authority usually with those guys. It's more probably I don't give a fuck, you're a piece of shit. But yeah, so like the Charles Harris comps and like you said, Gunkadoose, they were all talking about his spin move. These moves, they were showing this stuff and it's the get off. I keep hearing the get off with Chop Robinson. And I mean, listen. Color, what do you think, buddy?
Dude's got to get off like an all get out.
I would say this, right? In 2 years, his final 2 years at Penn State, he had 8 sacks and 74 QB pressures. I hate the QB pressure stat just to be – it is such a subjective stat to say QB pressures. QB hits, I'll take QB hit. You get your hands on the QB, whether it was a sack or not. Let me know if it was a QB hit. Because if you hit the QB, you pressured him for certain. You know what I'm saying? There's no way you didn't hit the QB and not get a flag, because if it was a flag, that's different. You shouldn't have hit the QB. That means you're making contact with the quarterback in a legal manner.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like that stat. QB pressures, super subjective. I don't like that stat. They don't have the stat for his QB hits, at least available to me at this very moment. 8 sacks, 74 QB pressures in 2 years. Guess how many snaps that was in? 2 years of snaps now, Color. How many snaps? 397.
Jeez.
That's not a lot of snaps. That's not a lot of snaps. Now, I guess when you say, hey, that's a decent amount of snaps, 397 to get 8 sacks, right? Like I can see that stat for comparison, right? Jalen Phillips in 2023, who only played 8 games.
You must have known I was going to ask that.
Well, Color, of course I did, buddy. Of course I did, bud. Jalen Phillips in 2023, who only played 8 games now. Now, remember, this 2 years of this young man's college. He played 8 games. He played 367 snaps. He had 43 tackles, 28 of them solo, 15 assists. He had 6.5 sacks, and he had 11 QB hits in those 8 games.
In the NFL.
In the NFL, with 367 snaps. That is roughly 30 snaps short of what this young man did in 2 years. Now, I'm not saying that should be an indictment on Chop Robinson, right? And I see Crypto in the backstage. Crypto, welcome. Thank you for coming through.
Hey, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. You are a bit
loud and clear.
I'm gonna reduce your background. Yeah, you're a little loud,
oh, yeah?
Crypto. Okay, there you go. You sound better now. I had adjusted. I got you, dog.
Bitcoin must be up. He's really loud today.
Yeah. Anyhow, let me get back to it. In comparison, 367 snaps, 6.5 sacks, 11. Now, okay, that's Jalen Phillips, right? That's him in his 3rd year in the NFL, who was on his best and on his pace for his best year of his career, hands down. We all know that to be a fact. Jalen Phillips was really cooking. And this shouldn't be an indictment on Chop Robinson. But let's go to Jalen Phillips' rookie season, right? Played all 17 games. He got 603 snaps his rookie season. In that rookie season, he had 8.5 sacks, 16 QB hits, 42 tackles, 23 solo, 19 assists. I mean, and he had a fumble recovery. What a great rookie season for a young guy. Obviously, unlimited snaps because they usually get anywhere from 700 to 800. But I kind of want to point something out, right? 600 snaps for 8.5 sacks. Chop Robinson, 300 and what was it again? 397. So just shy of 400, got 8 sacks. So that the sack number in that in that little window of observation of snap count and stuff, there might be something there, right? I will say what worries me is the conditioning, right? The conditioning is worrisome. This young man's going to have to play more, and he's going to be demanded to start right away. because of the position, which is going to be fine because he's a young guy. He should be ready to go. But it's going to be a on-job learning experience. It has to be. It'll be worrisome if week 1 comes and we don't see Chop Robinson, right? If week 1 comes and the Dolphins field out there and the game goes and comes and we don't see Chop Robinson at the pass rushing position, Dolphins fans unanimously will be like, what the fuck? Why isn't Chop out there? Who's playing with Shaq Barrett? Dolphins are decimated at that position. Unless Jalen Phillips comes in, maybe that's a little different. But anyhow, this Chop Robinson pick has me scratching my head, has me wondering, has me in all metrics and case, the Dolphins are projecting a lot of positivity out of a guy that to me doesn't have the stats and doesn't have the workload to disseminate from other than a data point. And I'm guessing that this data point is one that teams use when they get metrics and other stuff, and they're looking at the nitty-gritty things that, well, I'll just say it, that I don't know about, right? That I'm not I'm not privy to, well, look, when he steps this way and pivots his foot, none of the other guys can even do that. And if they can do this and that and change his angle and hand, like they're looking at what they can do to tweak to make perfection, right? And that mold of clay to them is what they want to start with. But it's a lot of projecting to me. And I've seen that story that I just told you fail in this building, I would say 85% of the time. 85% of the time that this, now it might be different. And I feel like in the offensive position, especially the line, I would say line and, well, I don't know about wide receiver just yet, but I would say definitely in the line position, I can see where they've figured a way to develop. This pick tells me they believe that this defensive coordinator that they brought in here is a guy that can develop. This defense that they're going to do, this guy can develop. That this guy will be effective and be good because it was a reach by my assessment. Not a bad pick, but a little bit of a reach for me. What do you think, Color?
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree at all, and I just don't, see why it's a problem to say it's a reach while still being able to say the guy's a decent pick. I've asked the question since that night. It occurred to me the way people were reacting to the draft. I'm wondering how the reaction would have been if, like, some people were switched. Like, if we picked the running back in the second round and, Paul in the fourth round, would everybody say they're both brilliant picks instead of one being outrageously great and the other one being eh? You know what I mean? Same with Chop. I mean, although he's supposed to be our best pick, at the draft, that's the question you got to ask yourself. Is he the best player that we picked?
I would say not the best player on the board, but maybe the best player on their board outweighing the other best players in their need column.
What
right?
I mean is, out of the 6 or 7 guys we picked, is he the best player we picked?
Oh, I don't know. That's actually
out
a
of
great
the guys
question.
we picked. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like is one of these other draft
the
picks
best?
gonna be?
Does he have the best cachet? You know what I mean? Is what I'm saying. The most cachet.
What do you think, Crypto?
Given where he was selected, he most likely would be based on the draft board.
Yeah, I mean,
you would hope it would be their
Can't
opinion that he was the best pick, that we made. You know what I mean?
Color. Can't fucking argue with that take. You can't argue with that take. That is crazy.
Unless we were going to outright go after somebody else at 21, then that's obviously who, as far as who we had to pick from or who we ended up picking, he's the best player we picked. You know what I mean? I might argue a little bit with the running back, but I have yet to see the running back play. And running backs are obviously
He was our most valuable pick.
inherently less valued. Right.
Yeah,
Probably not the best player, but most valued.
Let me rephrase the statement then, or the question. Will he have the most impact out of the draft class?
Well, that's the thing. Is he going to be the one that we're going to need the 5th-year option most on?
If he's that's in a 5, he's not the most valuable.
That's in a 5-year sample size, and I would say chances are yes, and only because you can get he's the only first rounder, you can't get 5th-year option than anybody else. But I understand your point. I would say this: in a 1-year rookie sample size, will he be the most impactful player out of the draft? That is very debatable, and we're going to get into some of the picks. I will say that he's more impactful than who they took. He'll be more impactful off rip and throughout the entirety of the season than their second pick. I would say that.
Right. And I do kind of somewhat.
Yeah, he would be more impactful.
I'm kind of with Bill's fake crowd noise a little bit. If I could, quell your concerns a little bit, I think he's probably going to just be better than Charles Harris. I don't think he's going to be a complete bust like that. You know what I mean? His body is a little better, as far as that goes and whatnot. But I see where you're coming from. But I think he'll be, if I were to think of him like Harris, I think he's probably going to pan out more than Harris did. Because look, we're still trying to get Tyndall on the field,
Well, I would say Jets Gang says, I can't remember the last defensive end that was good their rookie year. I would say Jalen Phillips, his rookie year on 603
the Eagles
snaps.
Had a plethora of them.
Well, listen, Crypto, on 603 snaps, his rookie year, Jalen Phillips got 8.5 sacks, 16 QB hits, one pass defended, 1 fumble recovery, 42 tackles, 23 of them solo. I mean, he had good stats his rookie year. So
if you look at the games played versus the games started, he didn't actually start a lot of his games his rookie year, which means he was coming in cold off the bench, putting up them numbers.
Exactly.
As a rookie.
And Will Anderson last year, Jets Gang, Will Anderson. Again, right?
I think he had 5 starts out of those 17. Am I mistaken?
Chop might actually start. He might, if those guys can't get back.
Well, that let's do 2 assumptions here with Chop Robinson, and then we'll move on. Number 1, if the Dolphins did not have 2 injured pass rushers, they're number 1 and they're number 2, and Jalen Phillips and then
Robinson's not a Dolphin.
That's okay. You're getting my question. If both of their pass rushers are not injured right now, do the Dolphins draft Chop Robinson?
No, possibly because of the Cameron Good injury. Possibly. But remember when we first got Barrett, I made that mention that Barrett was actually the upgrade for Good, while after standing in for Phillips and Chubb, he would end up being effectively an upgrade to Good as at the third rotational position. You know what I mean? Here's the thing about why I bring up Good also, because here's a guy that was drafted in the late round, 6th or 7th. I forget which one.
6th. I think it was the 6th, Color.
And he got on the field within a year and a half. Because of injury, yes. Because of injury, yes. But we're still facing those injuries. And so if it took a late round guy only a year and a half to get on the field at that position, I expect Chop Robinson to be taking the field this year.
Well, you know what, Color?
You know what, Color? As a first overall pick, You
know what, Color? In the question, because of losing Andrew Van Ginkel, and because now I could say, look, if all 3 of them weren't injured and they got Shaq Barrett, we wouldn't get him. But the fact that Good had to come in and they lost Andrew Van Ginkel really does kind of show more of the need for pass rusher than I gave it credit.
And if our developmental track and a late round talent was able to get through that in a year and a half to get on the field. What would be standing in Chop Robinson's way to get on the field?
You know what, Color? This, that take right there alone.
That's why I'm concerned about Tindall in the first place. You know what I mean?
That take alone makes me like the Chop Robinson pick tenfold, because pointing out that
the bar is not
Good,
really that high if you're drafted in the first place, because we obviously Cam Good has met that bar. Well, maybe not exceeded it, but he's met it. You know what I mean?
And I would say this, in the development that Cameron Good needed to find him on the field in a year and a half and not be a liability
speaks to him, but it also speaks a little bit to our developmental
staff. Yes, our staff. You know and now I would say that tells me I'm very interested to see what they can get done in a short window with a guy like Chop Robinson.
Good. They drafted Tindall and Good in the same draft.
They did.
They isolated him with Chubb and Phillips in practice.
Yep.
Like he was learning
there at practice,
pass rushing technique. You know what I mean?
I remember, bro. You know what? This is very, very good take, because now I am going to I'm interested, because Cameron Good out there, not a liability, not like he was making big plays, but he looked good out there. Good looked good. And we saw him looking good early too. Remember, we were like, Good is going to be good.
Yeah. And by the way, stands, I almost misidentified him because he stands almost the same height and same build as Jalen Phillips. It's hard to pick them apart.
I know.
They even have a similar hairdo. You know what I mean?
He's a monster. Yeah, he's a freaking big boy. So Chop Robinson coming in, far more athleticism than Good, putting him in the ilks of the other guys in that room.
And a way higher draft stock, let's be real. You know, maybe Good should have had a higher draft stock, maybe, but he had to prove that, which is why we drafted him late, you know?
So, okay, I'll be excited to listen. I was going to be excited anyhow, right? I'm going to see what the guys got. To me, just if I was picking, I would have picked differently, right? I would have and again,
fair enough. I would have made a splash. You saw what I wanted to do, so you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that obviously wasn't going to ever happen, but you know. I wanted Harrison. I wanted to make a splash, but that's just me, you know.
AB says if Chop gets 10 sacks, I'd consider trading Phillips.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, right?
As big a fan as I am, I can't disagree with that take, man.
I can't, because if we're talking, stupid haul. But I
don't expect it, but I can't agree with the take, with the hypothetical, you know.
But I would also say, look, you pay Phillips, and for the next, between Phillips's contract and now Chop, with offloading Chubb, you have linchpin superior pass rushers that are young.
Sure, but you'd also be basically resetting Jalen Phillips' contract and having all kinds of leverage on him with a guy that did better in his rookie year. You know what I mean? So there is validity to that. Like,
that's right.
If that's the kind of season Chop has right out the gate, then Phillips easily becomes expendable because of what we could get for him.
And it might take the price to a very palatable position.
Right.
For the Dolphins,
would be like if one of these receivers outperformed Waddle, we'd be in the same boat with Waddle. You know,
good observation by you, because if he does come out and get 10 sacks, then you can go. And Phillips is coming off of an injury. You'd be like, listen, you were injured. We got a young guy, 10 sacks. We want to keep you. We think the price point's this. You probably should sign it. Let's get this done early, and boom, shakalaka.
This is why I say the conveyor belt is starting to get in place, and that's where I try to squeeze some of my encouragement out of, where it's like, look what we're actually building here is going to be independent of any given player, to where once that quarterback does come around, we're going to be ready for it. And if it's Tua getting better and that's the scenario, great. That too great. You know what I mean? Not what I expect, but would be awesome. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, the Dolphins
That-
having any
That take
conveyor
was just
belt.
as good as Pete's take. That was a good take. That was just as good as Pete right there.
What was Pete's take?
It's
Classic
more of a
take.
preview of the takes you'll be hearing on the other shows going in the next week or so. But fair enough.
I can't wait for that. I will say this.
No,
Dolphins-
I meant like on the other non-TFTG shows. I'm just giving a preview of all the takes they're gonna make after they hear them from me. You know what I mean?
That's right. Got to lead the way. I would say this, right? If the Dolphins find themselves in any position group on the team with a conveyor belt of talent exiting the building because of their programs making great players, I would love that.
Can you guys hear me now?
I mean, yeah, you're pretty
We
loud.
can. Sounds like you
okay.
need a cough drop, but yeah, you're all right.
Go ahead.
I'm inside of the new Bluetooth in my truck, and I want to see if it works.
Oh yeah, you sound good. I mean, you got a little distance, but you sound good. What's happening, Nay? Sal in the building as well. 72, the fam. What's up, 72? Living in the land of hopium. Yeah,
that's all we got, bro.
I mean, listen, we've been 72. I don't know if you just got here. Hit the like button on the way in, everybody, please. But we started this segment with we started this segment with a lot of criticism. It was only until we've worked through our criticism to what is hopeful. And Color making that great point about what we've gotten out of Cameron Good in a year and a half to see what development we had at the pass rusher position. If that, along with the talent and clay that's already there with a Chop Robinson in a short time, man.
And why didn't we promote that coach to DC, whoever that is, bro?
I would say this. Listen.
Well, obviously, when you're a guy like Cameron Good, he probably had to work a lot with Danny Crossman, believe it or not. I know Batman's going to cringe hearing that, but only because I'm not trying to single out Batman. He's just the one I come to mind as a real person that's really disappointed in Danny Crossman. You know what I mean? So,
who's Batman? Who's Batman?
I don't know. I thought it was this guy named Bruce Wayne, but apparently he goes by a different identity, man. And I was wrong.
Yeah.
But
what's up, Andres?
Yeah, but he would have had to spend a lot of time with Danny Crossman. Danny Crossman is the guy that decides whether these young guys going through the rookie track get onto the special teams field or not.
True. Especially a later round pick like Good.
We point out what Danny Crossman's responsibilities are, and we only see the punt return in the Buffalo game and want to fire him, or we only see Dan Bailey's or Bailey's freaking bad kicks, and we're like, oh, forget Danny Crossman. But we don't look at the fact that, these rookies that were not drafted high, a lot of them have have come into their own. Cater Kohu, Durham Smythe of the world, and again, the guy we were just talking about, Cam Good. I mean, these guys were supposed to be, camp trash. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I guess there is something to that.
I mean, there's always going to be a percentage of the camp trash that actually ends up taking the coaching well and becoming, in Brady's case, a GOAT. You know what I mean?
Yep. Brandon Peely's still on the team, Raph.
Who said Brandon Peely? Raphael?
Raph.
Oh,
yep, Raph.
Credit to Raphael, because I mentioned him to Ali last night backstage, and the reason I mentioned him because all this talk about how many DTs we drafted and development and all that, we still got one developing. I didn't think he was that bad at all. And if you give this year's going to be his second year.
For a shorter defensive tackle type dude, Buddy has got some fucking leverage.
And because he's a raw dog, dude. Pure strength, bro. He's got that, he's got that since it's Pacific Islander culture month, according to the
Nick
Dolphins.
Needham as well. So all right, let's
go Peely.
Let's end I'm gonna put you on mute, Crypto, because you got a little echo, but I'll end it on this. Chop Robinson had an amazing 40 time. 4.49 seconds is ridiculous
Wow.
for a big boy like him. So, and his first step is good. His 10-yard split was 1.54 seconds. Fucking crazy.
Well,
Number
at least
one.
if he
Listen,
ends up like Smiley,
Color, he was
you know?
number one in the 40-yard, number one in the 10-yard split, number one in the broad jump. Okay. His measurables as the athlete freak are really good. And that is something, obviously, because if it wasn't, they wouldn't fucking do it. Okay. It's not nothing.
Again, with that kind of speed, you're going to end up giving up less yards after a broken tackle than Jerome Baker did, you know?
So I would just simply
I mean,
say
if you find yourself chasing the runner like Jerome Baker did all the time, that 4.4 speed is going to help you out, you know?
I would just say this, right? Because of Micah Parsons one of the years, because the other guy that got drafted in the second round, I forget which round. I don't know. Anyhow, not a lot of snaps in the last 2 years, just shy of 400. If he's going to come in and be impactful like we're going to need him to be, he's looking to get about 600 snaps as a rookie. And that's a big ask for a young guy to come in against grown men and go at it right away.
Speaking of Needham to be, how about these guys that are coming up behind Needham that we just drafted? We got.
Well, we're gonna go into that. We're going in order. Next guy the Dolphins take in the second round.
Order?
Well, kind of. I'm trying to keep some
Crypto. What would that make him? Bro? No, I'm kidding.
Damn, Crypto.
Yeah.
You go in whatever order you want, El Capitan.
Well, I'm going to anyhow. I don't give a fuck what any of y'all say. So, in the second round, pick number 55, the Miami Dolphins select offensive tackle Patrick Paul from Houston. So, listen, the athletic freak again. The guy is 6'8". He's a monster. Okay, he is everyone stands in the shadow of this guy. Now,
like 330,000 pounds or something.
Yeah. Someone said he's playing guard. Huh?
No, there's no playing guard for this fucking guy. Listen, I don't want to make this conversation about Tua, but Tua is not one of the taller quarterbacks. And even if he was, say, 6'3", it'd still be hard to see over a 7-footer in front of you, bro. The guy's a tackle. That's it. It's too fucking tall to play guard. Even so, like those short dudes and the snap of the ball in the trenches, get on the inside of that guy. There's no, you know what I'm saying? Fuck that. I will say this. Patrick Paul is not gonna come in right away. And even if Teron Armstead or Jackson goes down, he's not getting in over Lamb. Or what's the other guy's name?
That's interesting, though, Cap.
Isaiah Wynn, maybe.
What, Crypto? What's
That's
interesting?
Cotton. No, you saying he going? I'm projecting third quarter at the 6-minute mark. He'll be in the fourth game.
Well, I mean, yeah, Teron Armstead's going to go down at some point, right? But Lamb's going to get in first.
Yeah, but that's one of those very specific predictions that you don't want to discount from Crypto.
I fucking hate his specific.
I know. Every time he gets specific, dude, it's got to like come true. You know what I mean?
It's like, damn, Crypto, don't do that.
Yeah,
he's got to be a little more obtuse every once in a while, man. You know.
Yeah, I have to give one of my universal, statements. That's the order of the universe lining up. That's what's lining up.
Thank you, Flipper, watching on X. Keon Smith. That's the other dude. Like, Keon Smith's good too. Again, look, I've watched a little bit of film on what's his face, right? Patrick Paul, and he has amazing stats. Since 2022, the past 2 years, he's had over 1,036 pass blocking snaps. He's allowed 27 QB pressures, which again is a very subjective stat I don't like. He's only allowed 2 fucking sacks on over 1,000 passing snaps, which is fuck yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, hell yeah. Granted, we can look at what his competition is and be critical of that, because some of those are against shitty teams that he's just beaten up. I will say this with watching the film, right? He does this awkward, wide open stance, and he gets his arms real far away from his body. Now, I don't see him reaching and grabbing, but it's usually that he kind of almost like on his guys. He goes like this rather than coming narrow on the inside out. He comes outside in. Now, it's worked for him, but his hands do get behind the shoulder pads. Now, I don't know. Listen, I see it all the time in the NFL, and these guys get away with it. Some of these refs don't fucking play that. Your hands are on the back of their jersey. They're gonna think you're holding eventually.
That's also the kind of pattern they'll use to exact their little control that they like to do every once in a while. You know what I mean? Like all of us, we got a holding penalty to stop a game-winning drive, and it's
that's exactly fucking right. When the fix is in, they're gonna go after him, Mr. Hands on the back. Okay. So I will say
we're all gonna be laughing about this night too when it happens. We're gonna be like, remember that, bro?
Just saying,
shit, he got a penalty.
I've watched some of the film. I've looked at some of the stuff, and now I hadn't seen where that guy tries to disengage and he has a problem disengaging, right? That hasn't been the case. But the NFL is a different animal. These guys are a lot quicker, smoother. They feel they're fucking in you. They're fucking, they're like a fish in your hand. They're trying to get off you. So we're going to see how that works out for him. I mean, just on sheer size, weight, and he does have the ability to kick out very nicely. Just on those few things, I would say, yeah, if he could just use his size and reach and just keep guys out, you're going to find enough time. Plus, the way Mike McDaniel has this offense designed, along with Tua Tagovailoa's quick release, it's gonna bear,
that extra game of inches, that extra 4 inches of reach or whatever it is
that's it.
Translates to 0.5 of a second or whatever of extra time, whatever it is,
Nene, we might talk about that at a different venture. But I will say this about Patrick Paul. The Dolphins, it's a painfully obvious pick that is for the future, and rightfully so. Teron Armstead, there was a lot of talk about him retiring. I'm sure it came down to money and money alone. And I would also say that the Dolphins safely are thinking, well, God forbid Teron Armstead's heart isn't all the way in it right now. And on the flip side, with Lamb, they had to convince him not to retire. So you got two guys that at your left tackle position, your starter and your backup, both off the retirement potentialities to come back. I am super appreciative, and I would never question their work ethic or their heart or desire. But the Dolphins wisely getting out in front of it for 2025 by making a left tackle pick. Still a lot of risk. If this guy doesn't develop or doesn't pan out, they're still going to have to make assessments to that next year's draft and free agency. But it does buy them time and gives them to an ability to, what I've already said in this show, I think they figured it out with Butch Berry as far as fucking getting the scheme and coaching the position well. So if he can just beat the projection or the trajectory of Austin Jackson and stay healthy, this pick will be a plus. If he doesn't, and the Dolphins find themselves holding the bag this time next year and addressing the position again, there will be a lot of potentiality for them to, I don't want to say move off of him very quickly, but if they draft a tackle in the first round next year, that's not going to look good because they have Austin Jackson on the right. So I would say there is some consideration, if they don't, or if they draft a second round guy, it'll be a little bit less of a blur. It'll be more of a blurred line on that take, but it is now look, he comes out and Teron Armstead goes down for that 3-game stretch in week 5, 6, 7. You know what I'm saying? And Lamb doesn't go in and they put Patrick Paul in, I will be like, oh, all right. You know what I'm saying? Look at you guys. So jury is still out. Again, though.
Very brings them up to speed.
Again, though, feels like a bit of a reach. Not even a bit, because there was plenty, I think 6 offensive linemen rated above him, 3 or 4 tackles rated above him, but the Dolphins saw something that they loved, apparently.
Well, the other thing, too, is Butch Berry.
They were being size queens. That's what they were. It was size.
Right. I mean, it goes back to the sort of a similar take to the Cam Good Chop Robbins thing.
I don't know why I did that. I don't know. I messed up. That was my fault.
You know, if they can coach up this guy to higher levels, you know, then you're talking about, you know, they already got a guy like Jackson up to speed, or a guy like Eichenberg, you know what I mean? And here's a guy, I mean, again, you're talking about a second round choice, and that's going to, you know, maybe he wasn't deserving of the second round, but if we can coach him up to that level, then nonetheless, he will be a second round value in any kind of trade scenario. You know what I mean?
I would say easily the Dolphins' ideology and what they wanted to do and go after in the first and second round was their projections of what players can be as Dolphins with their God-given abilities, and what versus to what their production was in college, and if they could just insert that there. So round 1, round 2, guys have a lot of the traits, athleticism, whatever. We can insert fucking BS, right? And what can the Dolphins get out of that? And that we're not going to, both of these guys in a perfect world with this team right now, don't play week 1, don't play till again, if Jalen Phillips was healthy, if Bradley Chubb was healthy, if Cameron Good was healthy, and they picked Chop Robinson, he would be in the exact same boat Patrick Paul is definitely in, where there's going to be some weeks to let them develop, because that's what they decided to go. They went on developmental talents that they valued well for them in the first and second round. And it was just I don't know, it was weird to me. Like, to us, that, to me personally, that signals that the Dolphins are planning on a 2-year window, where because they haven't paid the quarterback yet, because of where this team was last year, because of the rest of the division and the AFC in total, I thought it was now or never, right? And that's obviously not how they're feeling. They are
right.
They are really looking at 2024, 2025 as the same thing.
2-year window for who? The team? Or the one individual players?
The
I'm
team.
talking about the whole team. I'm talking about the team and what they're building here, and what it signaled to me with these 2 picks.
Right now, Cap, that's the thing. And this is why I'm glad somebody brought up Peely, because, like something Ali said the other night was, you know, seems like we're doing what the good teams do.
Right, what Sal said right there, but
right.
I'm sorry, Colored in.
Right, and that's the thing. It seems like what Ali was saying was what the good teams do is they're drafting players a year ahead of time. And if that's how we've been handling things even last draft, then we should be looking at Brandon Peely this year, not these other guys we drafted. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, but Brandon Peely was an undrafted guy, right? Yeah, and we didn't have draft picks.
I'm just saying that. How do we know what track he's on? Is what I'm saying. Like,
Crypto, you got too much feedback. Why don't you try jumping back in and out? Because it sounds like an old record player that's having a real problem.
Yeah, he was still a Chris Greer pick. You know what I mean? Like, And what you're saying, like we made weird draft picks in the first and second round this year. Like for anybody but a star player, I really don't. I'm indifferent to what round they were
I mean,
drafted in.
listen, could we turn around and it's week 11 and Chop Robinson is vying for offensive player of the year, rookie of the year? Is Patrick Paul just out here,
No,
winning got
no, I
AFC
don't
player of
foresee
the
that.
week or some shit? Like that's not what I look at. And if like, okay, when the Dallas Cowboys drafted Micah Parsons, that's exactly what they're thinking. And it
Right,
does kind of signal to them we're in win now mode with picks like that. Now, I'm not
right.
saying all of your picks can be that, but it wasn't in the first round. It wasn't in the second round. That's all there is to it. And they both
Right.
look like really great potentiality players, and God willing, they will be. And it'll put us in a better position in the future. But I don't know.
Now, if you wanted to ask me that same question in a couple minutes, then when referring to our fourth round pick, we certainly can answer that question in the affirmative.
Well, so okay, so we're gonna be moving now to the next pick, and here's what's funny. We just got through talking about ideology, right?
Oh wait, we didn't pick in the third.
Yes, we did. Or no,
Did
we
we?
did. No, we did not. We traded back up to the fourth.
No, we didn't have a third round pick.
We did not have a third round pick.
I wonder why. I just had to get that out. Go ahead, continue. I had to continue.
So,
I had to make sure everybody was reminded of why we didn't have a third round pick.
Well, Color, why don't you remind us then? I mean, you're already,
because our owners saw fit to
what?
To break the rules in trying to get a different quarterback.
Oh,
yeah. But now that we've stated it for posterity and to remind everybody, we can move on. There's nothing to harp on.
Really? I don't.
But we had to. I mean, the average person that might not know might not realize why we didn't. Pick
I didn't know that.
Round,
I didn't know that, Color. I'm glad you told me because I had no idea.
There might be some casuals out there that didn't know.
So again, this is where the waters get a little bit muddy because this is two things. This is an obvious. I mean, the Dolphins have a full running back room, and the Dolphins don't really draft running backs. They certainly don't trade picks to go up and get a running back typically, right? Dolphins fans for years, every fucking year, were like, let's get a running back this year, damn it. Back-to-back years, the Dolphins have drafted running backs. I can't fucking remember the time that happened. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I can't remember the time that happened. First of all, Devon Achane, I was so high on him coming out. Brandon the bookie was talking to me about him the year before because he was blowing up. He's like, man, watch this guy Achane. He's going to be fucking killer in the NFL. Dolphins get him in the third round the following year. And I was like, oh my God, that's the guy he was talking to me about it. And here we are. Kid's amazing. On a full season with a little bit more weight that we see that he's put on this year, I am excited.
Well,
and there's our hold on a second, Color. There's our hypothetical future at the running back position.
Mm-hmm.
But crazy enough, Raheem Mostert had his best year ever with the Dolphins last year. Dolphins extend him. They keep everybody else in there. And what's the dude everybody was clamoring for last year that got limited role when the running back room got down? He had the fumbles, the undrafted guy we got last year. Chris Brooks, everybody. Oh, look at this bowling ball, Chris Brooks. So when the Dolphins gave up a 2025 third round pick, which is the one that they possess, they have two compensatories. They can't trade the compensatory picks yet because they don't have them, and you don't know where they're going to be. That's ever changing until the end of the season. So they traded their pick that they possess to the Eagles that put them back in the fourth round. Just a straight up trade, right? And a decent trade at that.
Yes.
With the Dolphins having 3 third round picks, giving up 1 to jump in the fourth. That is an equal point for point trade.
Not to mention that I've just on a quick, brief look at the guy's measurables. we would have easily drafted him in the 3rd round. He's easily a 3rd round.
Oh yeah, no, like
talent.
Buddy is
next year when we're looking at if this guy was available to us in the 3rd round, would we spend one of those picks on him? Absolutely. So there's no reason we couldn't spend it now to get him in this year's 4th. You know what I mean?
Well, Jalen.
Because here's the thing, bro. Would ask yourself this: would you spend a 3rd round pick from next year to get a guy this year that is basically Achane with 15 more pounds already on him?
And color. Well, I don't know. Achane's
that's
a little
what he
faster.
is, dude. I mean, that's what I project him to be. That's what my glassy eyes see him as.
I think Achane's a little
Lynch.
shiftier, but almost as fast as Achane. His 40 times coming in. His first one 4.44. His second 4.38. So kid is
and he
fast.
only gives up 5 pounds to Marshawn Lynch and gives up 10 pounds to Emmitt Smith. That's the guy we're talking about, Jalen Wright.
In 2023, color, he averaged 7.4 yards per carry. That's second amongst all Power 5 running backs.
Big time score for us, man. I'm really pleased with that pick.
His career highlight.
He could completely bust. Okay, but there's nothing indicating that right now.
He averaged 6.2 yards per carry in his career in college.
And now I will pump the brakes a little. I have heard rumors that the guy's got some fumble rooski problems.
He does have a little bit of the dropsies, but you know what else he does really good?
Well, the real comparison is Sammy Smith.
All right,
he's a very good blocker, but he steps up and delivers really good pass blocking from the running back position, which is going to be key. Again, Dolphins have a type at the running back position. Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, Jalen Wright, all 3 guys now that they possess that, we want to smash mouth football, but they put over smash mouth football. They put home run ability. If you don't have the angle on this guy and he gets green grass and open field and he's able to lean back and start running with like the sprint, not the leaning forward, able to arch his back and take off, you're going to have a hard damn time catching the boy. So, again, sweet. I love it. It is a bit of a future pick still, like the first 2 picks.
I mean, as much as you can love a 4th round pick. You know what I mean? That's
as much as you could love a 4th round pick.
People are I can already hear people, oh my God, they're acting like he's, whatever. No, he's still just a 4th round pick running back.
Well, look, we know that this scheme coming from the West Coast style, it is going to chew up running backs. And if you find yourself in week, the 3rd quarter of the season with Mostert out for 2 games and Achane's been carrying a lot of the load now. You don't want to lose Achane. You start mixing in Wright. Well, I think Wright's going to get a lot of work, just like Achane did. He going to get his touches.
I think he's going to be right out the gate. Same thing.
It's going to be week 3, week 4, and you're going to be like, oh shit, Wright's in there. He's in there for a half a football game, popping him off. You know what I'm saying? You're like, hell yeah, we got to.
Now, Crypto might be right. He might be the next Sammy Smith, but we're going to know that right away.
Again, imagine the Dolphins with a 3-headed monster, a three-headed hydra in the running back position with all that speed and power. Woo!
And don't worry, Crypto. Them fumble problems ain't nothing a few extra curls can't take care of, man.
It'll be, again, I like the move.
Yeah, right? Gotta walk around the stadium with the football all day.
They're gonna do him like that kid in the program. Remember in the program they made him walk around with the ball all everywhere in the school?
Yeah, that's what they got to do. That'll fix it.
And everybody had to try to get him to fumble it like during school, so he'd have to pay for it and practice it.
Yeah.
That was a great flick, man. I saw that one in the movie theater.
Dolphins surprised all of us with that trade coming up. I was excited. I like the pick.
Everybody caught off guard.
It's an obvious Mike McDaniel, Chris Greer, all of them, again, building depth, which, let's say for what it is, man, the Dolphins fell short because of injuries, and it's obvious that depth is needed. Hopefully this bears fruit. We'll see. We'll circle back to that. Next pick coming up for the Dolphins was in the 5th round, and they took Colorado State pass rusher Muhammad Kamara. To me, and I said this might be this pick right here has potential to be the highest value pick out of the entire draft. That this guy, I know there's some of the wide receivers and the next pick we're going to talk about him, and I think people will disagree with me. But Kamara, with his production in college, was unfucking real. Okay. He's 6'1". He's a fire plug, 250. Okay. He had 30.5 sacks, 45.5 tackles for loss in his career. So, again, a switch in ideology right there. All the projections with what Chop Robinson could be. If Chop Robinson looked the way he looked and had the measurables he did and the speed and everything, but had fucking Kamara's stats, he would have gone in the top 5. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. It's Colorado State. But it's not like Penn State's been world beaters and beating the best teams, and it's not like he had the snaps. I don't want to get into that discussion. Again, another super fast guy, too. Chop Robinson ran 4.48 40-yard dash, right? Muhammad Kamara ran a 4.57. That is not that much slower. Another speed guy. So I really like the pick. For him to be there in the 5th and the Dolphins double down at the pass rushing position, I like it. I do. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be great. And I also like, and I said this too, like, were the Dolphins going to be pig-headed and go all offense with their picks and continue to just build on Mike McDaniel's offensive dream? Or are they going to take this new incoming defensive coordinator and actually help the guy? And they really did. They given a defensive line coach that's now a defensive coordinator, a couple
for
of
all we know,
rushers.
Weaver could have been a long play that we just didn't know about and didn't see coming. They could have been ready to provide for him to begin with.
Well,
which may have been what maybe it may have just been a big game with the whole Fangio thing to placate the fans.
We know the Dolphins love to play that type of game too, Killer.
And Fangio probably figured that out and was like, "Oh, I'm nothing to do with it. Get out of here. Blame me if you got to. Just send me back to Philly."
So yeah, a lot of sacks. Again, he had a longer career. I mean, but he was in college for 5 years. So, but
That's interesting. Yeah. So.
Man, old Towers is just hating crypto.
Yeah, crypto, your shit is bad, buddy. So here's the hands down the fan favorite, right? Early in the 1st round or in the 2nd round, Dolphins fans clamoring for the Dolphins to take a wide receiver. But they do take one, but it took till the 6th round. And Virginia wide receiver Malik Washington in the 6th round was stupid. It really was. If the Dolphins took him in the 5th round, nobody would have batted an eye. Their 5th round pick at 158, they took Kamara. Their next pick in the following round at 184, 32 picks later, or whatever the hell it is, 34 picks, 36 picks later, something like that. If they would have taken Malik Washington, people wouldn't have been upset. Malik, by NFL standards, NFL.com evaluators, everything like that, he was anywhere from the 11th, 10th to like the 13th wide receiver on everybody's wide receiver big board. And we know how wide receivers fly off the shelves. He played at Northwestern his first 4 years, then went to Virginia. And his time in Virginia, he got a super big uptick. He caught 110 passes in Virginia, going from Northwestern, where it was a big program, played big games, been really happening these last couple of years. Went to Virginia and was like, I'm going to be the guy in Virginia, and was with 110 passes, 1,426 yards, and 9 touchdowns, and really shined from the slot position mainly, as everybody knows. Really was a smart move by him. And the Dolphins fans, I mean, look, metaphorically, people were really worried about that third option. Now, I thought, to me, they're probably going to implement a little bit more of that passing attack to Jonnu Smith now. But keeping a huge third option with the running back stable, now Jonnu Smith, Durham Smythe, and now this guy, Malik Washington, man, dude, he looks, dude, sitting there in the 6, what a smack out of the park. I loved this pick. I like it. I'm excited to see how he's going to handle. Well, I mean, look, Tyreek Hill right away was like, oh, all this stuff. Jalen Waddle tweeted as well. A lot of these guys were hyped up about the pick for Malik. And, dude, he's – I mean, what do you think, Color?
He's short.
He is short. He's got that he's got that Jarvis Landry about him, right? His hands are huge. Everything he gets his 2 mitts on, he don't drop. He catches a lot. He bailed his quarterback out a lot coming back for the ball. Speedy, strong, 4.47. I don't know, dude. I think the guy's just got a lot of fucking grit, man. He's got that dog in him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've actually heard a person I quite respect a bit, throws a lot of foam out of his mouth, known as the rabid dolphin.
Well,
he made a great comparison to like a Jarvis Landry type, just a raw dog, man.
His passing PFF grade, and take that for what you will, he was second amongst all wide receivers coming into the draft. He had a 91.1 PFF grade. So, I mean, look, to me, Mike McDaniel, when they made this pick, was the most animated out of all the picks, right? He was super stoked to grab this guy in the 6th round. And he's got videos on the internet of him working out, doing his little run drills.
Well, I'll default to a fellow wide receiver who became an NFL coach on this one then. I like him too. I mean, if McDaniel's that high on him and that's his forte, I mean, I didn't do the scouting, but me as a guy who played that position and loves it, and kind of like, yeah, if I was high on a guy, I'd probably, people should probably feel more comfortable about that wide receiver than, let's say, a running back coach. You know what I mean? But McDaniel played wide receiver. That's his position. That's his baby. When he's scouting somebody, he's more likely to pick that diamond out of the rough than your average scout,
And shout out to Dubs.
Favors that position.
Shout out to Dub. He got to my next stat that I was going to read off my list here. He says, number 1 in forced missed tackles and number 1 in slot yards as well. That's
what caused the Jarvis Landry comp from Lewis, man, because the guy just breaks tackles, man. He's not afraid of contact, I think is the main thing Lewis projects, that the dude looks for contact.
I mean, look, I
don't know if that's a good thing, but it is when what it says is you're in control, so you're not going to get clowned on a hit. You know what I mean?
When I watch him play, now down the field, yeah, he makes big things, but from the slot in traffic and moving around guys, he's got a little bit of Steve Smith in them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like I don't necessarily want a guy searching out contact. Obviously, you want to go to the open part of the field. But if I had a guy searching out contact, I want Stephen A. Smith beating a motherfucker up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, I mean, in other words, don't run to contact. But if you're Stephen A. Smith, by all means, run to contact.
So, next player the Dolphins took 15 or 14 picks later in the 6th round. They do take a safety in the draft, Patrick McMorris out of California.
Who?
Now, Patrick McMorris.
No,
So
starting from the 2nd round, I have to keep updating my Wikipedia entries. You know, nobody knows who he is. So I've been pretty busy on Wikipedia.
This is
trying
that
to get these
pick where you're
entries.
like,
Trying to get these entries put in there.
Right. This is that pick where even I will appeal to authority and be like, they obviously know something I don't. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna get knocked a kid. Maybe they.
Well, here's how I'll point it out. Right.
I'm gonna appeal to Wikipedia in my new entries.
Here's how I'll point it out of Patrick McMorris and Malik Washington and this correlation I'm going to put. Malik Washington, who played at Northwestern, right, and was playing in the games he was playing in against the opponents he was playing against. When he went to Virginia and transferred to hopefully get more opportunities, in which he did, it worked out for him, right? Virginia is still a great school, but their player depth was a little less, so he could get a little bit more. And we've seen players do that, and it doesn't work out for them, and they go undrafted. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that he did that, it worked out for him. On the flip side, Patrick McMorris, who played at San Diego State his first 3 years, he decided to transfer to Cal, and he still was productive at Cal, right? 6 foot, 207, ran a 4.5 40-yard dash. You know, a guy he good at tackles, has some interceptions, has 6 interceptions and 21 passes being defended in his college career. Played well enough, and has some good ball skills. Again, a guy, special teamer, depth guy. And the Dolphins have had a lot of luck, developing DBs, right?
Well, and on that token about, if that the next question would be, is this guy coachable? And so I'm gonna make a take that I cannot take credit for. Thank you, Ali, who very astutely pointed out, because I agree with him. I'm gonna go ahead and relay his take.
Nice.
These guys at Cal are really known to be very technical. Like they will forfeit the numbers and the stats to get things right and learn things right. You know what I mean? Like, they're highly intelligent players when it comes to just in general, and also football acumen. So it may not have translated to the field, but this guy does come in with a lot of maturity, a lot of intelligence, and ready to get to work. You know what I mean? So how that translates, I don't know. But according to Ali, that's something that the Cal guys are generally known for. That they don't, that they're not out there to try to
professionalism, for lack of a better term,
numbers and for one guy and whatever else. You know what I mean?
So I will say this about McMorris is that when the ball's in the air,
real quick, the old cliche, he's a student of the game. You know what I mean? If you want to look at it that way.
Yeah, a bit of a nerd. I would say this, right? And what little bit I've seen on him,
with Terrell Davis,
when the ball's in the air and playing in zone and stuff, he can come down, break on the ball. He's good at playing the pass. Got a decent enough back pedal. I will say there is some concerns about his tackling, missed tackles, broken tackles. That is not going to get you very far. Now, maybe they technically think that along with the upside in the passing defense can translate to a running defense and tackling. Maybe they can coach him up.
Now,
I don't see.
And real quick, Cap, I'm going to say sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. He could just be bat, but that also does correlate to Ali's opinion, because if you're breaking tackles and all that at the college level, this and that and the other, it's because you're thinking.
Yeah.
Like probably too much. But that's precisely at the point in your career at some school like Cal that you want to be thinking too much. You know what I mean? Like an extended practice almost.
I'll say this, right? In the safety room, the guy he'd be competing with the most is Campbell. Elijah Campbell, and Elijah Campbell's a damn good football player.
Right.
So,
and again, the only reason I given him all of this benefit of the doubt is because Ali's take is logical, but it's also, look, I've got to appeal to authority. This guy was projected to be a priority. Yes, a priority, but still an undrafted free agent. And given how many UDFAs we flooded in with right after the draft ended, we could have. There's some reason they made him a draft pick out of courtesy, out of personal liking, out of they maybe thought he deserved that title. But any one of those guys after him could have been picked at that spot if he was projected to be one of them.
That's
so
true.
I thought it was an odd move for our draft pick, but I don't want to just throw the guy under the bus because odd moves signal that they're maybe working with information we don't know about. And that's where I'll be the one to appeal to authority for everybody and say,
well,
hey,
I mean, look, Javon Holland went down with injury. He came back a little slow at the end of the year. The safety room really got affected. They lost their boom guy and fucking Deshaun Elliott. They did go ahead and pick up, what's his name? Jordan Poyer. But I mean, look, next year, Elijah Campbell, Jordan Poyer, Javon Holland, none of them are under contract next year. So drafting a guy in the 6th round and maybe finding something, at least you can maybe solve one of those three guys.
Look, we did it at corner. Look, Cater Kohu, sure, he got burned by one of the best receivers in the league all day. Okay, fine. But Cater Kohu's still Cater Kohu, best tackler on our team until proven otherwise, and that guy was same boat as this guy. Nobody would have ever thought, so again, it's fair to it's still illogical or it's still a fallacy, but it's fair to appeal to authority here and be like, okay, maybe they know something we don't, like for real.
So, yeah.
Nobody can be that bad is what I'm saying.
I'll tell you what the pick says to me, Color. I'll tell you what the pick says.
Possible.
Yeah, they can.
I know, Crypto. I knew you were gonna correct me, bro, because we have a list of quarterbacks in NFL history that we can point to. I know.
Yeah. Elliott's playing in Pittsburgh now, Joe.
Who? Sean Elliott?
Yes. I would say this.
That's a good fit.
I would say this about McMorris.
Real quick, they're going to need him too with Derrick Henry in Baltimore.
Anyhow,
that's a great pickup by Pittsburgh. Matter of fact, sorry,
they signed him to a 2-year deal. They signed him to a 2-year deal. Anyhow, because of them not having any safeties at the fucking end of this season under contract. That's why you made this pick. Right. Not for nothing. It was again a futures pick that hopefully they can develop, and they weren't going to wait till the UDFAs or next year's draft or free agency
and that's
to address
the sensible thing, bro. Like the guy,
this is a business sensible pick right here.
Right, exactly. And the guy probably has enough plus our faith in our coaching ability and our development ability. Add those two together, and they're hoping to get a decent player out of him.
Listen, if he's just a special teamer, and that's fine by me too. So, final pick of the
real quick, body type. Real quick, Brandon Jones. I looked it up. The guy, like, spitting.
Yeah, I've heard that, but Brandon Jones had some fucking serious tackling skills that
Well,
Morris does not have.
I only do body types, so
Yeah.
so people can visualize in their head what the guy might look like in our gear. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
What if he has a body type like Richard Simmons?
Well, right.
But
See,
if he's
I'm
a
not doing
tackling
it though,
machine, I
Chris.
don't care.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it like most people do with Drew Brees, where this guy will be him because he's got the same body type. I'm just saying, hey, especially when I was talking about Jalen Wright, you're talking about a guy that exact same height, but only gives up 5 pounds to Marshawn Lynch. I'd rather work with that than other things, is all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's going to be Marshawn Lynch. I'm just saying the first step to being Marshawn Lynch is having a body type like his. Oh, that's all I'm saying.
I'm looking for the body type of Yokozuna. He's the only person 600 pounds to jump off the top rope. So there you go.
Isn't it amazing? We got a guard back in the day. You couldn't have a nose tackle at 330 pounds without them wanting them to cut weight. You know what I mean? Now we're bringing in offensive guards at that weight, dude. It's like crazy.
Coming in at that weight, yeah. Yeah.
No more fat
That's
shaming in the
crazy.
league.
No more at all. Yeah, he can't fat shame the linemen no more.
Nope.
They all built like
Remember, we had a player.
linebackers.
I forget who it was. It wasn't Tim Bowens, was it? There
Tim
was
Bowens,
somebody
yeah.
that they were just his career took delayed like a whole season out of the gate because he couldn't. They wanted him to drop his weight. I forget who. I thought it was Tim Bowens. Then he ended up become
Bowens
a
was
star.
good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, Bowens was pretty good. Bowens.
Yeah, I know, but I think his career was delayed a year because he couldn't cut the weight that the Dolphins wanted him to.
Sound like somebody that Jimmy Johnson was trying to do. He's normally good for stuff like that. That's a Jimmy Johnson type thing.
I know.
You get down 15 pounds or you're out of here.
Well, for some reason, every time I think of that story, I think of Tim Bowens, but could have been somebody else. But I just every time I think of the story, that's the name that pops up.
It was somebody on Jimmy Johnson's roster.
I'm confirming it right now. You're right. I don't know. Anyhow, I'm just siding with you, dog. So the final
Jimmy
pick.
Johnson.
Yep. The final pick, Dolphins swung for the fences at 240 first pick of the draft in the 7th round. The Dolphins, Mr. Irrelevant. They went ahead and got the USC wide receiver, Taj Washington, taking a second Washington wide receiver. Now, this guy, little, small, shifty guy, 5'10", 175 pounds, slot receiver, but the guy is a home run threat. And if you watch his highlights minimally with the Trojans, with Caleb douchebag McGee he was bailing him out. That went number 1 overall. He bailed him out on a lot of short thrown passes that he comes back for. Even though he's not like the fastest guy around, his 40 time was 4.52 on 59 receptions. And he led the Trojans in receptions too. He had 1,062 yards, and his average was 18 yards a catch. He had 8 touchdowns in the 13 games played last year. Look, is the guy too small?
Right there.
We've heard that, right? We've heard, these guys are too small. I don't know. He played very effective for the Trojans in a marquee year for that program, and he was the guy.
Think about the name, Cap. Trojan. He played for the Trojans.
That's true.
Oh, I love him already. It don't matter what school you went to. If your mascot was a Trojan, we're all brothers.
So here's the deal, right? In 2023, he had a perfect passer rating when being targeted, which I don't understand how that's effective. All right. He had a perfect passer rating when being targeted. He had 15 targets, only 13 of them caught, the other 2 uncatchable.
Dang.
596 yards on those 13 receptions, 6 touchdowns, every one of them over 20 yards, obviously by the yardage. So as far as a deep threat, and, you know, if you got the time and you could just uncork one out there, his ass is catching it. Again, I think we all expect him to get his start in special teams, punt return, kick return, all that stuff. Dolphins picking an absolute high value with Taj in the 7th. And you know what? I'm again a guy with some dog in him, and I gotta imagine he feels like the NFL made a big mistake letting him just slide all the way to the 7th, and the Dolphins take a metaphorical flyer on him. If he comes in with a chip on his shoulder and he can produce like he did in college, the Dolphins and the Dolphins brass will look really, really smart for taking him.
He's our Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, you ready for one of them smashing color takes that you're going to hear on the other shows for the next week?
Let's go.
You notice, like, I understand the idea that we of Mike McDaniel's system and the type of receiver he wants and likes and wants to utilize. I understand the backing up Waddle and Tyreek because they're the same type of receivers. I get all that. But had anybody thought that McDaniel is learned from the greats before him, like Bill Belichick, and this might be this flood of 5'9" wide receivers, you know what I mean, that are small and shifty and scat backs, for lack of a better word, you know what I mean?
Setting
and
trends.
given that we have to find some advantage over the teams that bully us, right? As a finesse team, okay? Do you think this whole run of these types of receivers, filling our squad with them, is a way to be playing ahead of the game when it comes to getting out in front and taking advantage of the new special teams rules, the new kickoff rule?
Absolutely. It's them trying to get out in front of some stuff.
Any one of these guys could all of a sudden, in that particular system of kickoff returns, nobody knows what's really going to be like. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a learning experience for everyone.
And so any one of those guys
McDaniel and the Dolphins trying to
grab that bull by the horns and be one of those guys that can break through that 10-yard line and take a whole bunch of kicks to the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's going to be a learning curve, and we're going to see
where
how
their
teams,
competition's going to be at. They're all going to be
teams
competing
plan to attack.
to
And here's
stand
the
out
thing,
in that
right?
spot.
And how teams plan to attack. And I seen in the comments, I think, here it is right here, Crazy Dolphin, Mr. Paul. Why do we still have our special teams coach? I'm wondering if this is the reason. Is this the reason that the Dolphins and the NFL knew that there was changes coming to special teams, and they believe Danny Crossman is prepared for that shift? Now, older cat stuck in his ways. If shit hits the fan, it's gonna blow up in their face real quick, right? But we're gonna see. I do like the Taj pick. I like the kid. He had a lot of fucking production for that team last year, and I mean, again, dude, he was one of their best weapons. He came up in some of the biggest moments, bro. Some of the biggest moments in the games. He had some of the fucking awesomest shit to watch, dude.
I'd be curious to find out if the particular receivers we got, since college had already implemented the rule last year, didn't they? Or am I mistaken?
No, you're thinking of whatchamacallit. They got it from the Arena Football. Yeah, they got it from the USFL.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
never
World
mind
Football League.
Never mind then. I was gonna say if they've had some tape on guys running in that kickoff system, it'd be nice. You know what I mean? It'd be interesting correlation, but they weren't running it.
On the draft itself, the picks we named all
AB baiting us into talking about a quarterback. We didn't even.
We're gonna get into the UDFAs here in a second. AB, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
don't get your panties in a bunch.
That may be our biggest hidden gem, then AB.
I love him though. After all these years, I love old AB, but he is a little dick, man. I tell you what, man.
So, I would say this, right? let's figure out
He's there.
what's your guys' grades. Let's do a quick summary. It seemed like in round 1 and 2, Dolphins
C plus, B
projecting
minus.
Dolphins projecting players for the future. Trade back up in the 4th round to take what they want in a running back. And then, a pair of wide receivers, a pass rusher to back up in that position for Kamara. And they take the safety from USC.
Yeah.
What would you give the grade? Crypto, you said C plus, B minus?
Yeah, C plus, B minus, cystic overall grade 1 through 7. First
Color?
7 rounds.
Well, first mid-level,
change
as far
December.
as research goes, mid-level research, first reaction was a C. But man, I really like the fact that we made it. We did something like getting that running back where a guy that could really, I believe, fill a particular number that could affect our WAR number. You know what I mean? Which is wins above replacement, i.e., number of touchdowns we get per game. And that's something that we've needed to fill for a while. Not a particular not a running back in general. I mean, just that particular type of running back. So I add a plus for that after further evaluation for a couple of weeks. I give us a C plus.
Ali, welcome. Thank you for joining us. What are you giving the Dolphins draft grade?
Ali there?
Initially, when I first saw the draft and we were getting picks, as everyone saw on the show, I kind of flipped out about it because I was like, this isn't who we've been looking at. These aren't position of needs. But then after thinking about it, and me and Color had a long talk last night and actually analyzing what we did, I'm more on minus side. If you really break it down,
Repeat that, Ali. The blender got you for just a second.
Yeah, I'm for some reason there's a delay. Let me switch over to my phone.
It just happened right when you said the letter. We know it's a minus, but we don't know what letter it was.
I said I'm more on the side of a B plus to A minus, to be honest. And the reason for that is if you really look at it for what it is, we went and added depth, something we were missing in December, right? In two key positions. And now when we go into December, we're not going to have these problems where, oh my God, we're down to the very last edge guy, or we're going to have to sign someone off a free agency for edge. We don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about offensive line really, because you got many players that can play multiple positions on this offensive line, and tackle's not going to be a worry. It doesn't matter if Austin Jackson goes down and Teron Armstead goes down. We have a guy there, right? And the main key thing to remember is, and you can go back and look at this. You can look at this. Good teams, the teams that continuously win, they don't sit there and draft for now, right? They don't draft for this year. They draft for 2 years down the road. And it doesn't matter what position of need they have. Kansas City, go look at how they draft. They don't draft for this year. They draft for 2 years down the road every time. And that's exactly what they do. And
no, they draft offensive linemen.
Say that again.
Them.
Say crypto.
No, they drafted the offensive linemen and used them right away.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they don't use them. And that's two different. That's two different things. That's two different things, right? I'm not saying these players are not going to be used. I definitely bet. I bet my whole paycheck that every player, except for maybe the safety, there's a question mark there. I bet you every single one of these players are going to be used at some point in this season, right?
So you're saying all 7 players make the roster? You're saying all 7? Are you saying all 7 players make the roster, Ali?
Players, the way that they're drafting, you can see where they're headed. you can see down, like after this year, you see who the next guy up is. You can see that they're already prepping. There's going to be no, oh my God, what do? We have this massive hole anymore. Now it's just, okay, next draft, we're drafting for 2 years down. They're going to, it's a cycle that they're going to be going through. That's what I'm trying to say.
Ali, would you say all 7 players make the 53?
All of them, but the safety is in question mark. I like the safety because I know the school he's coming from and how they're coached. They're just they have the right technique. He just doesn't necessarily have all of the abilities that that come with body type, strength, speed, and all that stuff. So I mean, he's the only person I question mark. Everybody else, I could definitely see making the 53.
So
yeah, I wouldn't eat all of them.
I
mean, think about it. Charles Robinson's going to definitely make it. Patrick Paul, that's a no-brainer, is going to make it. There's no reason why Kamara can't make it.
The running back's going to make it. One of the 2 wide receivers is going to make it.
I disagree with that. I bet you they both make it.
I'm not saying they both. I'm saying one at least will make it.
At the very least. But I'm going to say both. Good.
I would say for me, right, I give my grades are like C's and A's, right? To me, day 1 and day 2, they get those are C plus grades for me. Day 3, they've got A's and C's. I would say I would give a C minus for the safety, and I would give a C, maybe a B minus for Taj, and I give the other players A's and A minuses. If I took my average, that's putting me at like a C plus. So I do take into account some of the stuff. That was my reactions immediately after the draft. I would now bump that to a B minus, but that's it. And that's only because as far as what I wanted was now, that's what I thought of this football team, that we were depth and injuries. So if we had guys today that were going to be good, it would be now. To me, it's more of a future build, and I'm okay with it, but I would say B minus for me. We've got dueling Ali's up here.
Was all about. Yeah, this draft was pretty much all about contingency plan and depth. Nothing.
Yeah, and that
screams winning now this year.
And that's
that's what Ali means. Like contingency plan means like if we're fucked and we're not having a rebuild from zero because we've been building the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what it is all about. Nothing screams that we're winning now. This is our Super Bowl year, meaning we will hoist the Lombardi. Nothing this draft tells me that.
Hit the like button, everybody, please. We've passed the hour and a half mark. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button.
In 2026 to 27.
I would agree. I would agree that nobody in this draft is the difference between us being a contender or not this year.
Well, that's
absolutely. I agree with that.
With that take, Color, it gets me to my next question. The 2023.
Hold on, maybe Jalen Wright or one of the wide receivers because of the special teams thing. Sorry, go ahead.
So, the 2023 Miami Dolphins to the 2024 Miami Dolphins. On paper, as we sit with this draft, are we better? And I would.
Last year's team.
And now
we moved sideways. There was a lateral movement.
I agree, and I feel like that was. Oh shit, Ali, you're having mega problems.
It sounded like
Ali,
you brought the disco home with him tonight, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Ali,
sound like little crank wind up toys.
Yeah, you got two.
You spin around in a circle. That's what it sounded like.
I will say this.
I had, for whatever reason, StreamYard's having an issue where the audio like pauses and then I hear you 10 seconds later. So
okay, so you gotta like this has happened to me before. you have to go and pretty much shut your computer down and boot it back up. The stream's like straight up. That's the only way to make it stop.
Yeah. So I'm switching to my phone because my phone's not having the problem.
Oh, okay. Then you're good then.
Real quick, Capitan, since we haven't cut to 53 men yet, we can't really answer that question if you're saying better team this year than last year. But what we can say is, or what I can at least, in my opinion, give my opinion on, is that I think we are better. We have more depth and more talent going into camp this year than we had going into camp last year. That I will say.
Yeah. Okay. I to me, I don't feel like we're in any different of a boat than we were.
Yeah, I
from
think
free agency.
Treading water.
I think we're kind of.
This is a tread water season.
I'm going to go out and say that I think if you really look at where we're at with a lot of players that we brought in and what positions we addressed, I think that our team is more balanced now, specifically on defense. I think it's more balanced because you really look at it. We brought in quite a few defensive tackles, right? And then I think that we upgraded in certain cases in linebacker.
Well, yeah,
the
I would
Brooks
give you,
guy.
I would give you right.
You know what I'm saying?
I'll give you that.
And in addition to it, we didn't lose too much letting Howard go. You know what I mean? We didn't lose too much. We brought in Fuller.
Listen, I love the Fuller signing. I'm just again, I don't feel like with the losses and the additions, we have the same question marks and more, right? That's what I'm saying. Like our team, we kind of ran it back for last year. So I expected what we had to get better. And in some ways it did. And injury really stood in our way and the collapse at the end of the season. To pivot isn't the wrong move. I just don't have the answers I had last offseason, which puts it at more question marks, which not that they can't be better because of what you're talking about. I'm just saying, as I can currently project, I have more question marks than I did last year. So what I would say is, are we in a better position? I would say it is in an equal to position from last year to this year with the players with a higher ceiling but a lower floor too, right?
See, I think there's more questions as to what the names are going to be at a lot of these positions. But I don't think there's nearly as many questions as to whether we have the talent at those positions.
Yeah, for me, there's only 2 question marks on this. Actually, maybe 3 question marks on this team.
Van Ginkles was performing at the highest level. Wilkins
the question mark.
All those guys was making impact even against the bad teams. If you want to say they playing against bad teams, good.
Yeah,
we don't have that luxury of lining up against a bunch of bad teams the way the schedule is. Let's just fall off a cliff and a bunch of injuries happen like last year with the opponents.
Well, you're speaking about possible outcomes. We'll get to that one day, but I'm just look. It's something that Bill's fake crowd noise just said about our young players getting better. Like that's why I brought up Peely earlier because we would have to inherently be going into camp with a more plethora of talent and possibilities than we did going into camp last.
We'll get into a position by position breakdown and a projections at a different late. Ali, land your point.
What I was saying is that I think the question marks that I think that we have still is for the defense. Everybody wants to know how are we replacing Christian Wilkins? That's the biggest question mark, right? And then in addition to it, you look on the offensive side. We still have a right guard question that is still there. And then last but not least, which nobody here has talked about, is Jonnu Smith really the answer at tight end? Did we fix the tight end room?
Well, I don't know if I would call it
that's a bigger question than we had last year.
Well, here's the thing. What needed fixing, right? Because let's call for it. Durham Smythe, we know what we're getting out of him. Higgins, we got way more than we thought we were, and projections look good. What we were missing is a little bit more dynamics and depth. And I feel like that position group has gotten better from that. Now, are we looking for this explosion at the tight end position?
Are you talking
No,
about Hill, by the way? You said Higgins.
yeah,
You're talking about
I'm
Hill?
sorry. Yeah, I was talking about Higgins
Higgins was
earlier.
the guy
So
we
fuck me up.
drafted, but we let him
we let
go. He
go. I know. I
didn't
was
make the
talking-
53.
I was talking about him earlier. That's why I got his fucking name messed up.
No
But
worries.
yes,
No worries.
He's also didn't make it.
the position group I'm very comfortable with right now. But yes, I get your point, Ali.
Yeah, it's just for me. It's like we still have like question marks, but I think overall in certain positions we definitely have the depth for December. That's like the biggest thing for me. Yeah, we still got to figure out what our final tight end room is going to look like. Yes, I still think we need another safety, and I still think we need to bring in somebody at right guard. You fix those
also don't
issues,
think
I think
We're gonna
up
roll through. We're gonna roll through the UDFAs next, but I want to
Mhm.
wrap up
Yeah,
the draft, the actual draft talk with this, right? So
Mhm.
we've given our grades on the draft. We've disseminated the picks in the draft. We've now talked about this year's 2024 projected Dolphins, this time last year to the 2023 Miami Dolphins, and what we foresee as what do we measure? How do the Miami Dolphins differ from the 2024 measuring in the AFC East versus the AFC East in 2023? Because the teams have changed, the landscape has changed, right? Now the Jets, they got some help on the O-line for sure. They added some talent in the offseason. They're projecting their quarterback to be back. Their defense, after a bit of a downturn, now has a year to get right, and I feel like Salah's going to get things better on that defense. They're going to be a better team. What that it will equate to is open for interpretation. The Bills, who have taken a step back, I believe, right? I truly believe the Bills have taken a step back.
No, now with that person
Now,
they picked at number 33, they didn't.
well, I mean, that's up for interpretation too, Crypto.
I'm going
we
out
could
on a
talk
limb and
about it.
say he's an instant upgrade from Diggs.
Yeah, well, I don't
They're not
know.
gonna lose a step.
You know what I know? I know that the Bills. I saw a stat today that was amazing. The Bills in 25 years, in 25 years, have drafted 20 wide receivers, and 0 of them have been to Pro Bowls. Interesting stat there. But my point is that the Bills. I don't see the 2024 Bills equal to or greater than the 2023 Bills. If anything, I see them equal to or lesser than. And then the Patriots. Now, say what you will about the Patriots. We don't know what to expect. This is going to be a Patriots team with a new quarterback and a whole new fucking ordeal. I don't know what the fuck to expect from them personally. Now, am I afraid of that? No, I think we'll beat the shit out of them. But if you turn around and they're now a thorn in the AFC East side, that's something to consider as well.
They also have a rookie head coach too.
I know that. That's what
that was my point. First-year head coach.
First-year head coach.
It'll probably look like the Raiders, bro.
Yeah.
Like good. Everybody's like, wow, they're better than we thought.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, think about this. The Dolphins have been a first-year head coach, young quarterback, first-year quarterback. We've been that team a bunch of times and remained a thorn in the Patriots side.
But that's all we were.
I got you. But I'm just saying, for us,
we've been that.
I don't want them to
be.
I don't want them to be my motherfucking thorn now. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know why. I don't know.
If we keep our heads about us, then you can look at everybody.
We were 9-8, and we was still a thorn.
I'm gonna go out.
We got to consistently have that energy for every team, and then it won't affect us. You know what I mean?
I'm going to go out and say this, but I honestly think that I think you guys are overhyping the Jets. I'm going to tell you straight up, because that defense, which is supposed, we talked about good teams that the Dolphins had beat, right? Well, last year, regardless of whatever the offense was doing, that defense was still a good defense for the Jets. And even though
Not
they may
really.
have retooled a bit, no, I'm going to go out and say it. Go check the stats. The stats still showed that they kept up. This is the same Jets team that beat the Bills without
Yeah,
Aaron
but they did.
Rodgers.
But they
All right,
Yeah, but
quit
we
this
pretty
is
much in the
still
second half of the season.
we
They
also
fell off
put
this
a
is
cliff.
64 points
this
on
is
them,
still.
dude. Nobody else did that. You know what I mean?
I understand, but that's my point. I think we're
No,
overhyping
that's
them.
because
Is what
Cleveland
I'm
didn't
trying
play
to
them
say.
twice.
Why are we
Cleveland
overhyping
had
them?
the better apple
Oh,
until
I
this
got
time.
you, Ollie.
Not necessarily use LCAP, but what I'm
Actually,
saying
the
is that
Cleveland
there are
Browns
a
has the
lot of
best
Hold on,
pass
people.
Crypto. I
numbers.
want to hear this point.
There
What
are
do
a
you
lot of
mean?
people. There are a lot of people that are stating that defense is so scary and everything. I'm not really scared of the Jets. Yeah, their offense might be a little bit better this year, but I'm not expecting anything different than what we saw from the Jets defense last year. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? How many points did we put up on them? Like 30? It's something ridiculous, right? So
Yeah, but it's
64
different
true.
when you don't have an offense
yeah,
to complement what you plan
Yeah,
on defense. When
Crypto.
they when they got that pick six and came within 10
my point.
one field
But
goal,
here's the
and then
thing,
they
though.
quarterback threw a Hail Mary that got returned for 100 some yards. Really? And you want to
Here's
say
the
that
thing,
was a
though. But
competitive game?
when you're looking at offense, can you agree
What Aaron Rodgers
that
would have
offense
thrown
wins games?
a
Putting
pick
points on
six
the
Hail
board wins
Mary.
games, right? No, crypto.
Yeah,
You
but
can agree
when you
that point. But crypto, just
right, but what I'm
answer my
saying is
question.
when the
Yes or no? It's
defense
a crypto. It's a yes or no
don't have
question.
the offense to complement them, they're going to pack it in eventually. It's
Okay,
natural. It's human nature.
I understand what you're saying,
Look at that when we
but
played the Packers last year. I mean, a couple years ago when Aaron Rodgers was on that Packer team, when we had them by 10 points at halftime, their defense still played enough, and they had a competent offense with Aaron Rodgers, and he raced the 10-point lead and beat us.
hey, that's your opinion. My opinion is that I think we're overhyping them. That's all I'm saying. I'm willing to even bet.
I'm gonna touch.
I'm
I'm
got a
willing.
competent quarterback.
Think about this.
that
Think about this.
complements
You want to talk
offense.
about offense? Okay, let's talk about offense. Offensively, if you really look at it, their quarterback is another year older, coming off an Achilles injury, and who knows, he may not even
there
be
you
the
go.
same guy.
Now
So-
that's true, and that's
Yeah,
where I'm going to
that's
give.
true, but
I'm going to give the
that's what we
counter
hoping.
argument, right? But I will
that's
say
not always
this.
the case.
I will say this: the Jets, with no offense since Salah's arrival, has remained in every football game on defense and defense alone. Okay. At any given moment, if they ever figured out a passing attack, because they've had some decent rushing attacks, if they had ever figured out a passing attack with that team, it'll be a better football team, hands down. Now, whether or not Rodgers at this stage in his career is going to be able to, I think he will, but I don't know if he's going to be able to maintain it. And now the defense losing a little over this time. Can Salah reinvent the wheel to remain that type of defense? If he can, and those two things marriage, they're going to be a very good football team. Whether they're better than the Dolphins, I don't know. So when we take into account the AFC East, to me, I would say the Dolphins didn't come up in scale. Again, we just talked about, to me, it's more of a lateral type of Miami Dolphins with more question marks, potentially higher ceiling, but I also think it's a potential for lower floor than what we started with in 2023. But I also look at that same scenario for the other three teams in the East. The Jets with Rodgers puts that circumstance, along with the changes they've made to make that work, and the passing game on that football team, gives them a much higher ceiling. I don't know if their floor can get any lower, because if Rodgers goes down or it doesn't pan out, their floor is as low as it's always been. So that's not the case. The Patriots are the wild card of the division right now. No one knows what to expect. Their floor can't get any lower. Their ceiling can only, well, that's not true. They might be fucking 4 wins, or they might have 8 wins and be fucking up this division and not necessarily beating everybody, but really overachieving and making it fucking suck in the division. You know what I'm saying? Devaluing.
Who did they get at receiver? Did they finally get a receiver?
So yeah, they did, but I can't. His name is the Bills. To me, is a real whatever. I perceive them as a team
They didn't leave
that
anything in.
that has a much lower ceiling and lower floor right now. I think the Bills have regressed to the meme to the AFC East. I don't think they're the team that they were. Now I could be wrong. Maybe all Bills fans think that for whatever reason, Josh Allen is not going to miss a beat without Diggs because of what they didn't do. To me, if they're gonna come back with that type of rushing attack and really trying to be more a balanced football team with Josh Allen, it's gonna bode well in the long run. But it's not like teams aren't going to be able to adjust. And the thing is, I've seen the Bills now twice try to do this with Josh Allen, and both had varying successes, but eventually they have to break glass in case of emergency and say, Josh Allen, just go fucking win us this football game. And they've done that all too often. So I think they're now still going to do that in meaningful games later in the year and be less Diggs and have a rookie that they're counting on to do that. Their wide receiver core is not what it's been the past couple of years while they've been successful. So if the Dolphins can stay where they are or even touch some of that higher ceiling I think they have, this division could be ours. So that's how I feel about it. What do you guys think?
Didn't double dip. That Florida State guy's pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, he's all right. You know, it is what it is. I could be fucking whatever. I don't know. All right, so interesting to say the least, right? So,
yeah, I think it's all crypto's fault. Whatever you were just talking about.
I was trying to say that for a minute now, but I'm glad you went ahead and took care of that for me, Color.
Nah, I ain't
like, why always me, man? I'm just sitting here eating my hot dog, drinking my water in my bathtub.
This is the most nerve-wracking year coming up. I was more certain about 2023 than 2024.
I agree with you, Crypto. I'm right there with you, Crypto. I do see the potential for it being better, though, right? I think we both could say that. But I hear you. There's more question marks on the team at large. So, okay, here's the first name I'm going to talk about on this UDFA list because it was a guy that a lot of people had mixed feelings about talking about this guy. It was a point of contention, and I want to make some things clear about this player that the Dolphins added to their football team. So, offensive tackle Bayron Mantos, who is 6'7", 313 pounds. They have him projected as an offensive tackle, but he's only played basketball, right? He had a 30-30 visit with the Bengals, the Jaguars, the Bucks, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Colts, Cardinals, Broncos, and Giants. Now, he's a part of this program that is the hold on a second. Just reading some stuff. He's part of the international program where, because he's from the Dominican Republic, really a basketball player for most his life, getting some looks at playing tackle, trying to translate to the game. He will not count against the Dolphins' 90-man roster. He's the 91st man. He can be brought in, and they can keep him on their roster in the practice squad as like a protected player. So they signed him to the most expensive deal of any of the free agent international players. The Dolphins gave the biggest salary to, which was a guaranteed salary of $247,000. So That's why people kind of were like, why did you do that? This guy's not even going to make the team. But they don't understand he's in a program where they can develop this
There's
guy.
like no risk, right?
There's no risk. They just gave him more money because it's one they wanted the most. And these guys are in like a free agency thing, so they could take the most money. So I'm sure somebody else offered money. The Dolphins offered the most.
Just to clarify, what I'm reading about him, he did actually play some football, but it was very, very little, like very little. Because it shows here that in 2022, he played for, what is this? University of
USF.
Yeah, USF, and he played like some special team snaps. Was a kick blocker, and what else did he do? And he moved in. He played some defensive end and moved into some offensive line roles. So they had him kind of like a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit everywhere, pretty much.
Again, his first sport is basketball, right? And the guy, again, very limited, but obviously a freak of an athlete. And yes, he is now 6'9". When he started playing, he was 6'7". But 290, yeah, he's a big boy. So again, a lot of athleticism, high risk or low, super low risk and super high reward potentially. And it's part of the program in which the Dolphins and a lot of teams are doing. And the Dolphins always do it. And it's good for the game of football, right? It's good for the game of football.
Definitely.
So,
I mean, no offense to our offensive linemen, but how hard can it be?
Well, here's one thing that's crazy, right? His 40 time at 6'9", 290, his 40-yard dash was 4.88. 4.88.
That's pretty fast for an offensive lineman, isn't it?
Are you fucking kidding? Dude, he's freaking almost 300 pounds, almost 7 foot. And he's running 4.8. Are you kidding me? That's crazy fast.
Well,
I mean, to be fair, loves his freak athlete, like 3 feet out in front of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's true. Every step is fucking. He probably only had to take 15 steps to hit that 40 yards.
With how tall he is,
you know how the good runners going to dip their head forward at the very end so they can snatch that other couple tenths of a second. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I was about to say with how
3 feet, man. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say if he could cut his speed down by 2/10, he could play tight end. Saying, he's 6'7". Holy shit!
Because of his limited football
or 6'9",
experience, because of his limited football experience. I'm guessing his hands aren't adept to that. I do know what you're saying though, basketball guy maybe, but yeah. Again,
I was really joking, but I'm just saying. It's possible.
Well, we hear a lot of basketball guys translate, a la Antonio Gates, translate to the tight end position, have success.
Yeah, that's true.
So the first guy that they signed in the free agency undrafted guys was Mark Perry from TCU, the safety. So again, with that 6th rounder, Mick whatever the hell his name is, I'm blanking on it. Sorry,
McMorris.
Yeah, McMorris. Sorry. They go ahead and get the TCU guy who played at Colorado, then played at TCU, had 5 years in college. He's got a lot of playing time. 3 interceptions with Colorado in 2021. He had 6 passes defended and 142 tackles in the past 2 years with TCU. Super fast guy, 4.37 40-yard dash at the safety position. So, hopefully not getting burned deep, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, good player. I mean, I'm digging it.
I mean, he's definitely a good player, and I think he does have a good shot to maybe make the roster. My question is technically, if people are kind of high on this kid, why didn't the Dolphins draft this guy and then pick up McMorris as an undrafted free
That was
agent?
gonna be
There
my
has to be,
question, Ali.
there
That's
has
what
to
I was
be,
trying to say earlier, Cap.
there has to be a reason why they drafted McMorris. There has to be something about him, and I'm willing to bet, and I'm sticking to this because I know the type of safeties that Cal puts out. I bet you he's football smart and he loves football, and that's why they took him, because they're not going to have to teach him the strategy of the game or any of the
So
book
Ali,
smart stuff. You know what I
I
mean?
touched on it when we first talked about him.
Okay.
He plays in zone against the pass beautifully. He's not getting caught peeking. He plays the guys and the zone very well. And when like the field's cut in half, right? And he's responsible for that half of the zone, and they've put all the formations down that end to the end of the route, and there's 3 guys. He's picking the right guy. So he's really heads up with that problem. Big problem he's got is he's a little bit weak at tackling.
Yeah, I've seen it. But one thing I did see in his highlights is that he doesn't seem like he's scared to at least attempt to tackle. He's just not the strongest guy at it. So I agree with that.
Yes.
I agree with that.
I will give him this too. He, in some of the film I watched, he's very good at getting to the point of attack when the ball's being caught. And that can help his case too. But again, I think personally he's a little bit more attacking the football than attacking the guy, and maybe there's a timing thing he needs to work on there. But they brought in somebody that, listen, it wouldn't surprise anybody in the world if that guy gets cut and this guy makes the football team from TCU. You know what I'm saying? It happens every fucking year, and there's unconfirmed reports that he got $165,000 guaranteed. So
yeah.
So next guy that the Dolphins
Finstock admin in the house driving home, listening to us on the road. We appreciate you. Everybody hit like and share this show out.
Drive safely, homie.
That would be Adam Padilla, if I'm not mistaken.
It is Adam.
All right. Well,
it is Adam.
How you doing?
Drive safely, Adam. Hit the like button, everybody. Sackman in here too. CCRR making an appearance. Bo up in the hizzy. Who else in this bitch? Hit the like button, everybody.
Go Risk.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I already hollered out to the homie Joe. But yeah, hit the like button, everybody. Okay, so the next guy the Dolphins got, UDFA.
Man.
They get another edge player from UCLA, Grayson Murphy. They pick him up. Oddly enough, he did not work out for the Dolphins. He was at North Texas, where he had 3 sacks and 4 tackles for a loss in 2022, and then had 8.5 sacks and 14.5 tackles in 2021. Then he transferred to UCLA, where he got 5 sacks and 9 tackles. Another guy that he's a little thin, but if he can maintain his speed and aggressiveness while putting on weight, he could, a flyer on the guy at the very minimum. Dolphins really, here's a theme with the drafted guys and what they've done and what they're doing. Our defensive coach, Weaver, has absolutely putting his fingerprints all over this defense with the line. He really is, and you got to respect it.
Sound like such a hell of a football name, dude. Anthony
fucking
Weaver.
Right.
I mean, fucking perfect.
He played the game, dog. He played the fucking game and has varying successes at it.
But if I could give one name that would, besides Joe Mixon, that would explain to everybody what I'm always talking about with the names, dude, it has to be Anthony Weaver.
Well, how about this one, Color?
Weaver,
defensive coordinator Zach Sealer.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, that's definitely a nice name there. I will say this though, I'm really. It seems like we're now at the point. It's safe to say that they're starting to see that the offense is starting to become complete, and now they're trying to really address the defense. It feels a lot better when you're only having to really address one side of the ball versus all over the place. That's all I'm saying, because that's the way I see the team is going forward.
Yeah, and
Black
Dubs
Sheep,
in
Texas
chat
says,
saying
leave it to
it's
Weaver.
insane. Dubs is saying it's insane that he went undrafted. I think the reason he went undrafted, he had a lot of he used his speed well. He's just a little light, dude. 235, 6'2". That's a little light for a pass rusher. But I don't know. Right? They bring in another wide receiver and Jaquan Burton from FAU, taking a flyer on a local guy, caught 24 passes for 277 yards, 11.5 yards per
He's an
catch.
owl.
Yeah, he's an owl. FAU guy, look.
You know who's an FAU guy?
My mom.
Andravius.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah,
my
big time.
My mom graduated
FAU
from
guy,
FAU.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, just to me,
Boca FAU, right?
To me, probably local prospect. They got to see a little bit of, maybe, flyer, all that good stuff. I don't know. Maybe it works out. Who knows? Here's the one everybody wants to talk about: the UTEP quarterback, Gavin Hartson.
Best arm on the team. Saying it right now.
I don't know.
All I'm saying is that he has the strongest arm.
You got slightly better.
Big O would agree with you. I think the Big O would agree.
When it comes to names, dude.
Big O said he's the lively arm. That's what he said about Skyler. So there you go. You're in alignment with the Big O.
He's coming off Tommy John surgery.
There you go.
Which again, I've already explained, in my opinion, as far as I know, that particular surgery. People that throw balls for a living tend to actually get strong, more, like it helps them, it enhances them to the point where some major league pitchers actually are doing it proactively now and just getting it out of the way because they know it's coming anyway.
What was that movie where the kid broke his arm and then he started pitching fastballs?
Rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year. Thank you. So, yeah, that's what he's doing. He's trying to. These guys are trying to rookie of the year
Well, the pitchers in the majors there is a condition that happens that causes them to need to get it, but a lot of them, with the amount of money they invest in these pitchers, and given the fact that the range in baseball is more, for a player contract, is more like 10 to 15 to 20 years instead of like in the NFL where it's like 5 to 6 years average player. These organizations are like sending their pitchers to go get it in like their second or third season and just getting it out of the way, even if they don't even have the condition that causes it, because it has to do with something in their elbow or something that, like, it's caused by, and more often curveball pitchers get it because it's caused whenever you throw a ball, when you have to turn over your arm, which is precisely the motion you have to do to throw a football anyway. Like, believe it or not, if you look at slow motion curveball pitcher and put a football in the guy's hand, it will look no different than a quarterback throwing a football.
Color, I would say that's why I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Tua, with the offseason program he's doing with that quarterback, whatever.
Is it good if he makes the team?
Now,
don't
real
make
quick,
the team?
all of that stuff that I just rambled off about was only meant to say, don't necessarily be too alarmed or
about Tommy John surgery.
Tommy John surgery. It could actually enhance the guy's arm.
Again, he's brought in for competition with Skyler. That's what it is. So
if he makes the team, is that a bad omen or a good omen?
I don't know. I mean, if he makes the team, it'll be because Skylar Thompson got cut. So we're gonna find out because we're probably gonna see plenty of him and Skylar Thompson dueling it out in the preseason. So
What if it because Mike White went to crap and he made it and Skylar is the finalist?
they fucking love Mike White. He ain't going anywhere, bro. I don't get it personally. The Dolphins have completely stepped off the gas at having a competitive quarterback room. Let's just call it for what it is. It's done. I'm not even going to talk any further on it. They have given up on having a second quarterback that could be an answer other than the first quarterback. It is only about who's going to be. It's only about who's going to be the best clipboard holder for QB1 and who's the wild card at QB3. That's what it is. That's fucking what this team is right now. Because in break glass, in case of emergency, that your QB1 goes down, then you just, you see what sticks against the wall. And it's either the guy who is the good clipboard, every man, everybody's favorite dude on the team, nicest guy. His wife bakes the best brownies, and everybody loves him in every room that he's in. If he can stay,
I just hope
healthy,
I'm not making a video about karma and referencing our quarterbacks.
Well,
like I did when it was referencing a pass interference calls and calls by officiating.
It is what it is, Crypto. This next guy that the Dolphins picked up for UDFAs, this guy is, I don't want to say top of my list, but he's making it on the top side of the list of players that could be on the Dolphins 53-man roster.
Somebody McNobodyson?
No, but like the Dolphins every year have had 1, 2, sometimes 3 UDFAs that beat out people in a position. And this is the very first cornerback that they've brought on this team. Okay. And this guy played at Louisville, played at North Carolina, both respectable programs against respectable opponents. And he's got a crazy fucking football name, crazy football name. And a ton of other teams wanted this guy when he went undrafted.
Well, how do you topple somebody McNobodyson?
At least a dozen other football teams inquired about this kid, and he chose the Dolphins over all of them. His name is Storm Duck.
Yep.
Yes, and just for clarification, because I did the research, Storm Duck is his real name.
Yes,
his mom named him after a famous actor on a soap opera, Bold and the Beautiful.
Did his mother not like him or something?
His mother loved him. He loves his mama. He got $150,000 guaranteed from the Dolphins. He's going to get every opportunity to be one of those rotation DBs. He will be competing with everyone in that DB room. He's got plenty of
action. Lie, it sounds like a BMX freaking champion, bro.
That's true. Well, okay, so listen. He had 5 interceptions in 40 years with North Carolina, and then went to Louisville for his final year, transfer year to play one more. Draft stock coming out of North Carolina was non-existent, wasn't getting any notice. Went to Louisville, had 32 tackles, 7 passes defended, a sack, and he's got a lot of raw ability that I like from these scrappy fucking corners, right?
Sounds like a draft.
AB says he should have been named Donald, and the irony here, AB, is that, and you're probably not going to believe this because it's like the kids saying, "Yeah, my dad's got a yacht," you know what I mean? But anecdotally speaking, I did know a woman who grew up with a kid that killed himself because his parents named him Donald and his last name was Duck. I swear to God. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying what the person who I trust.
You realize he can go change it.
The person that told me this, I trust with my life. So it's not like, it's just complete coincidence. You can believe it or not. But I swear to God, Donald, that guy already freaking committed suicide, dude.
Damn, that's some fucking heavy shit.
I
Color.
know. His parents named it, thought it would be cute, and named him Donald, bro. And by the time he was in high school, dude, he done killed himself, man.
I don't. Oh man. I mean, listen. And Joe Riss says I'm craving duck donuts.
Then, you know,
I've
you
had
can
duck
change your name.
donuts. I've
You don't
had
have to
duck
stick
donuts.
with the name that's given to you at birth. You can change it.
They're okay.
Yeah, but this was in a time, Crypto, when the kids bullied each other. The parents just said, "Oh, that's kids being kids." You know what I mean? That's we're talking,
Yeah, toughen up.
80s and shit.
Toughen up, Donald Duck, you dork. Yeah,
exactly.
like I could see it.
You got a special name.
This is before. This is before the anti-bullying movement. Color or Crypto.
If this guy pans out as being a complete shutdown corner,
and take his wife's name.
If this guy would actually be a complete shutdown corner, he would have the perfect name, because then they could call him Storm the Darkwing Duck. He'd be the Darkwing of the defense.
Dude, he could wear the purple. Yeah. He could wear the purple and shit. Match me. Fuck yeah, this guy's. I'm digging it.
Well, in Crypto, if the guy only knew all he had to do was make it through high school, bro, he could have changed his name.
Yeah.
Hey man, right. I've watched his tape. It's not bad, bro. I think he has abilities that he could make this team. And in a serious note, I really do.
Yeah, but on a serious note, if he doesn't work out and he ends up being a bust, all you got to do is change the K to a T.
For duct?
Yeah.
Yeah, duct. Yeah.
Terrible. What, is he going to open up an AC repair company? Fuck out
No,
of here.
like a storm drain, like a storm duct.
No. Real quick, I see a question from Black Sheep. The TCU guy. Yeah, we talked about him a little bit ago. He was the first guy we talked about when we started mentioning the UDFAs.
Sorry, that joke was for people with above 160.
I would say no, I got it, Color, with the storm duct, buddy. We get it. Fucking douche. The Mark Perry from TCU, I like him. I think he's got a lot on the table. It's obvious the Dolphins. He and the guy they got in the 6th round, McMill. What the fuck's his name? Ali, I keep fucking it up. McCormick or whatever the fuck his name is.
McMorris.
Why can't I remember this? This guy's got a forgettable fucking name. He's never gonna fucking cut it on this football team, dude.
Oh, it's hard to say how many people have a Mick followed by an M. Like, it's hard to say, dude.
Yeah, it's Kokor. It's fucking hard to read.
Got
McMorris,
McCormick.
That even the Irish people are like, "Fuck you, man! Get out of here. We're tired of trying that one."
Actually, wouldn't McMorris be a Scottish name?
Right now.
I think it's a Scottish name.
It's definitely a Scottish name.
I think the Scottish are MAC, Mac, and the Irish are Mick.
Who the fuck knows, man? We don't know nothing. Anyhow,
I do know this. I do know that my name Color is Scottish, whereas Cullen with an N is Irish. Then I do.
And the McCullens, the Scottish McCullens, is my family. Color and me got distant relatives.
And probably came from the McCullough, like everybody,
Yeah,
Scottish.
It's only Irish if there's an O in it.
McCullough? No, they're Scots.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they don't have Mick in their name.
McCullough. For all you Braveheart fans.
Actually, McCormick is a better name.
All right, so let's go past the Duck Man. Next guy that the Dolphins pick up was another quarterback from Syracuse, Isaiah Johnson. I don't really
cornerback.
This guy I don't know a lot about.
Johnson
right?
Like that pick.
I don't know a lot about Isaiah Johnson. He played at Dartmouth. Then he played at Syracuse. Both schools I don't watch anything on. Typically,
it sounds more like a basketball name, but it is an above average football name.
But PFF rated him Syracuse's second best defensive player. So on the Syracuse defense, he was very impactful. He had 59 tackles, a forced fumble, and an interception last year. He started every game that year. So I don't know. Flyer could be a guy. we'll have to keep an eye out for that guy. The next dude that they sign is probably so with the Storm Duck guy. Storm Duck. Now you got me fucking doing a color, you asshole. Damn, his mom did name him Storm Duck.
Well, what's really gonna bake your noodle is there's literally a brand of tape called duct tape that's not duct tape, but they also make duct tape.
They do the best kind.
Yes,
Not to be confused with their brand name, duct tape.
Imagine the opposing offenses that we have to play are probably in their film room, and the guy goes, "Man, did you see the duct tape?"
Everybody wonders why the average, like the casuals, get
that duct tape is pretty sticky, boys.
Tape, you know,
I'll tell you what. If he does get it figured out in the NFL career with a name like Storm Duck, the fucking marketing is endless. If he's snatching footballs, duct tape out there, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Oh, watch out. He's making tackles. The storm is on you. You could the fucking cliches
it's
and
endless.
it's endless with this guy's name.
He's gonna get a deal with the company Duct Tape. Okay. He's gonna have a roll of tape. Okay. Now remember, he's a Miami Dolphin. Okay. We get a lot of rain.
And he wanted to be here more than anywhere. Don't forget.
Right, we get a lot of storms. Okay. They're gonna have a commercial with him with a roll of duct tape going out to seal up the broken window of his car during a rainy freaking storm.
Listen, you ain't got
right
nothing.
On, you're spot on, Joe Rich. Duck Dynasty. There you go.
You've got nothing if you don't have duct tape in your house.
Exactly.
I will say this though. I will say that,
like the guy in the boat that paints his bottom of his boat with that clear sealant and goes out and in the boat.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like that in the rain. He's gonna have a roll of duct tape and he's gonna be like fixing something so it doesn't get wet. You know what I mean?
It's a terrible commercial color.
I will say this though, the first name Storm, dude, that's a real man name, like real big time, macho name. I'm down with that.
Hold on a second. The only other Storm I know, the only other Storm I've ever heard be a first name was Storm from the X-Men, and that was a chick. So I'm sure he took a lot of flack for that.
Well,
there's other. I disagree with that.
What I'm thinking, hold on. What I'm thinking is Duct Tape's going to come out with a premium waterproof line of tape called Storm Duck.
Color is really fucking crafting this fucking duck commercial.
And their little logo is going to be like a really mean looking duck that's out in the rain. That's like out in a storm. You know what I mean?
Color. It sounds like you're missing your duck calling, bro.
Well, it sounds like I'm missing my marketing calling. That's what I'm sounding like.
Your duck marketing calling. So, okay, the next guy on here after the Syracuse guy, Isaiah Johnson, this one's interesting. Very interesting because Dolphins fans across the board felt like interior offensive line was a hefty need, and center in particularly. And the Dolphins agreed to a deal with Ohio State guard/center Matthew Jones, who started 24 of the last 26 games and was second team all Big Ten last year.
Sounds like Dub and I make a good team, bro. Storm Duck will be on Channel 4 during hurricane season.
I'll wait till you're done.
We moved off the duck. We're two players
Sorry,
down.
I'm milking it, Ollie. Go ahead.
All right. Let it go. So for me, I think it's definitely a camp body. I think that he gets kind of lost in where he should be blocking at the right guard position. In addition, I think he doesn't know where to place. Like after he gets his initial blocks off and everything, like he doesn't know where else to support or go. You know what I mean? That could be a coaching thing. Maybe they can coach him out of it. Ability wise, he's okay. I'm not like overly hyped, even though he's an Ohio State guy. You know what I mean? They are a run first team as much as they pass. but I don't know how he fits. You know, the prototypical type of offensive lineman we like.
Ali?
He wasn't the starting center. Let me just put it that way. So we
Okay.
didn't really see him very much at center, to be honest.
But he does have work at center. Or was he the
If they're
backup
calling,
center?
I want to say he was mostly right guard. That's where I've seen him the whole time. I don't think I've ever seen him at center, but I don't know. That doesn't mean he didn't. I might have missed it if he did.
Well, I asked because it says guard/center on the player profile.
I know, but then again, some of those players and positions.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, go ahead.
If your center went down, he's the dude that would slide in. I got you. But he did play a lot of right guard, and that is really the position that the Dolphins don't have answered, is that center right guard. And so rather than getting a center and a right guard to hopefully find, they found one dude hopefully that could fit one or both. So as backups.
To be 100% honest, though, in my opinion, on the roster, we already have our starting center and backup center. And as much as people hate this, Eichenberg is the backup center. Right?
Oh, absolutely. And
it's
I think
really
right
the
guard,
question mark is right guard. That's really the only question mark
I think
we have with that offensive line.
I think Eichenberg is the penciled in right guard right now and the kick center. Now he's competing with Jones for that right guard position. And honestly, I don't think the Dolphins are done adding talent. I think they add a center guard, and I got a name in mind, but I'm not going to go through all that because that's a different show. But picking this guy with all the concerns of offensive line, one of the last UDFAs the Dolphins pick up is a center guard, and it's a kid from the Buckeyes. You know, it's at least he's got, you know, a pedigree and has obvious meaningful snaps, right?
Definitely better than
football games. So the final guy that they got early, they added some other players, and we'll go into them. But the final guy they got in the rush of UDFAs was the Colorado defensive tackle Leonard Payne. He transferred to Colorado, played at Fresno State. Another one of these guys where the transfer portal from a smaller school that didn't get, you know, or playing time was something that they weren't getting or something. You know, he had 5.5 sacks at Fresno State. I mean, over 40 years. So it's not like he had a bunch from the defensive tackle position. When he moved to Colorado, he played 7 out of the 12 games. And he got 2 tackles for loss, 10 total tackles, 3 sacks, a forced fumble, and a block kick. So transferring to Colorado, he really stepped it up on a better team, playing better, and that's why, you know, he's ended up as a camp body, someone that the Dolphins are going to look at. I will say Leonard Payne has a huge uphill battle with the amount of guys they added at the defensive tackle position, but if as a guy who's a UDFA, if he was a draft pick, he would be allotted a lot more. But what do you guys think of this guy?
I think he's a camp body, but don't count him out. You know, a lot of people didn't think Brandon Pilley would ever make it when they first got him, and look what happened.
Well, that's why. Listen, that's why I agree with you on that statement, but it's also why I think it's an uphill battle for him. Pilley is going to be hard as fuck to keep off this football team.
Yeah, that's true. And we brought in a lot of defensive tackles, to be honest. There's a guy that I think could very well play defensive tackle that we actually drafted. Mohamed Kamara has that body type that he could fill in the inside, bro. I could see that happening.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. He is 250, so he's a big boy.
I mean, just look at his body size and the type of shape he has. I think he could maybe handle it, possibly.
I'm kind of wondering if a front 4 of body type guys that are similar is kind of what their deal is. And if they're going to, you know, show, I'm wondering if we're going back to a little bit more of a, like 5 guys on the line at times. You know what I'm saying?
I like where you're going, LCAT, because guess what? On Shake's show, the last one I was on, I mentioned, for all we know, Weaver might want to run 4 defensive ends.
Yeah.
Instead, you know what I mean, as our line. You know what I mean? So it could be a prototypical body type that he's looking for. Who knows?
It seems to be, right? It seems to be this
Right, like he's
The
going to
body
invite
types.
him over to the barbecue on Sunday. You know what I mean? And sometime during the off
With,
season, going to meet the wife. Going to meet the wife and
oh man,
kids.
Crypto,
You
your
know, they're going to
feedback
eat.
is bad.
Then they're going to sit down for a cigar afterwards on the patio, and Weaver's going to. That's when he's going to be like, "So, hey kid, what do you think about playing D tackle, man?" You know, that's how it's going to happen, bro.
I don't know, bro. I mean, think about it this way. You know, we think we know what defensive tackles are supposed to look like. There was a couple years back when the Colts decided to go small at defensive tackle. They went small and fast. And look at the guys we brought off. They're explosive off on the takeoff and everything. And I don't know. I could see where they maybe it's not this coming up here, but maybe in the next year we might see that transformation of our line being very similar type guys.
Did Weaver ever play under Dungy or anything like that?
I don't know. I don't know if he did or not, but that's kind of what the Colts did to their defensive line. I want to say about 3 or 4 years ago.
I guess you could say that would have been Pagone's defense too. You know what I mean? Chuck Pagone.
Yeah.
Big name. I'm surprised his name never came up for DC anywhere, bro. And all that talk. He must be getting old or something.
So, after the rush, the Dolphins later added some other, camp body guys. They added a Jordan Colbert. I mean, dude, I have no fucking clue who this guy is. He played at Columbia and Rhode Island.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Crypto. You just got echo and some feedback sometimes.
Is it echo now or no?
No, it's pretty good right now.
Okay.
The Jordan Tolbert, I don't really know much about him. Again, he played 5 years in college at Columbia and Rhode Island. Look, Dolphins with these weird small schools have found diamonds. So guys who have ended up on their team and playing meaningful snaps, whether it's a special teamers or whatever. So I don't know. I'm not going to write the guy off. They did add. Yeah.
Did you know that there's a planet now that's they said it composes of mostly diamond now? They found it. Our scientists have discovered a planet that's made out of
doesn't your anus doesn't your anus rain fucking diamonds or some shit like that?
I imagine so. On that planet, you probably can get it. Do that.
It's either that or
That's you call diamond in the rough.
Or one of Jupiter's moons. It has like the perfect carbon compound to rain diamonds, it says.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
that's crazy. Now keep in mind, these probably wouldn't be diamond crystals. They would probably be like, diamond ore rocks, you know what I mean? Or something. Or dust.
Yeah, it'd be more like a dust, right?
Pretty freak.
Right.
Anyhow, so the next guy that they added, Wisconsin tight end Hayden Rucci. So started 10 games last season, had 17 catches for 200 yards. Just a guy, blocked a lot, obviously. Who knows? Again, I don't know much about him.
Long
Ali,
shot to
you got
make the
anything
team.
on him?
Long shot to make the team. Wisconsin's primarily a running game, so I kind of think it's more for the blocking, if anything. But I don't expect him to make the team, to be honest.
So now there is a handful of guys coming to rookie minicamp. The UF backup quarterback, Michael Leon, has gotten the Dolphins have a couple of spots left on their 90-man, and so they've handed out invitations to hopefully have these guys come, but these guys have other invitations too. So one of them is UF backup quarterback Michael Leon. Another guy is Virginia Tech defensive tackle, 290-pound defensive tackle Mario Kendricks. He had 17 tackles for loss and 7 sacks in 5 years with the Hokies. Linebacker Jeff Canton Arku, who had a combined 19 and a half tackles for a loss. 7.5 sacks, 1 interception, 4 forced fumbles in 3 years with Syracuse, and then played 2 at Memphis. So, yeah, just some other folks around these parts. All in all, a mixed bag, and it's going to be interesting to see as camp, the rookie mini camps. What do they start fucking next week? When does rookie mini camp start?
Yeah, it's probably within the next couple of weeks. Rookie mini camps.
Yeah, the rookie mini camp. They brought the UF quarterback in because they're going to need someone to throw footballs, right? That's why the UTEP kid's there, coming off Tommy John. Can't count on that. They might as well get the other quarterback from UF.
So why can't Tua throw the balls?
Because Tua ain't going to rookie minicamp. It's only for rookies.
They should be set.
But don't they have the? Yeah.
He needs to do it as a mentor.
No. What, Ali?
I was gonna say, don't they have a camp where they both, the rookies and the vets, show up? Like OTAs or something?
They have mini camp afterwards. And then it'll be a mandatory and not there's so much fucking camp coming up, it's crazy. But yeah, this is rookie mini camp. That's why they're bringing in these other bodies, right?
Listen, here's an ultra bold omen, bad omen prediction. You ready? If Skyler gets cut, that means Tua will not play the full season because God don't like ugly. There you go.
So, again, a lot of stuff coming down the pike. Didn't want to make like an immediate reaction show after the draft. Went through the guys, gave our grades, observed what the Dolphins 2023 to 2024 is, and how they've gotten better, equal to, or less than the AFC East, and how the Dolphins now match up. We've gone through all of that. And then we went ahead and looked at all the UDFAs and what their potentials are and who they are and stuff. So learning a couple of these people's names, these players, and understanding, putting a face to a name here over the coming weeks. There's more information I can give. I'm going to probably do some player profile type of stuff, maybe per player, and in a shorter video setting here in the future. But that's pretty much it for today's show. The only other thing I wanted to touch on is, a couple days ago, well, not a couple days ago, yesterday? I don't know. Anyhow, the Dolphins pick up the 5th-year option for Jalen Phillips and Jalen Waddle. No-brainer moves, right? Everybody saw this coming.
You mean somebody's actually playing on a 5th-year option in this league?
No. Well, maybe Tua Tagovailoa is getting ready to play on his.
Right.
Maybe that's a sign.
Well, look, here's the deal, right? Both those players, Jalen Waddle, I would say, worth more than Jalen Phillips, only because Jalen Phillips has now gotten injured. But both trajectory are really good football players. And these are players you draft in the first round. You're going to want to keep these guys. Yep. Getting the 5th-year option allows you to space out paying these guys. So if you can get a deal done with Phillips or Jalen, or hopefully both, before their 5th year and extend it on that, great. If you need more time because you can't afford to pay them both at the same time, I understand that play too. So to me, I want both of these guys on my 2026 Miami Dolphins. You feel me? From this current
50 option is good, Cap. I think 50 options for all 52 players was good for the goose, is good for the gander.
What's good for me, I don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? What I'm offending me.
I just look at whatever makes contractual sense. But the thing of it is with Waddle, it may be a case where they're let's say, I don't want to use the word unsure still, but I would say they're probably as convinced as I am and which means they're not ready to do the deal yet. You know what I mean? They want one more look. So that's 5th-year option
At Waddle,
for him.
I don't know.
Jalen Phillips, on the other hand, well, with Waddle, it's also that who knows what phone call might come out of the sky. You know what I mean? But with Jalen Phillips, it's a systemic move. They're not going to do any contract with a guy that's currently injured. They're just not going to do that.
So here's the
they
deal,
were
right?
almost forced to do his 5th year.
They've drafted Chop Robinson. We've already touched on this earlier. Chop Robinson's draft stock along with production could devalue the need of paying Jalen Phillips potentially. Tyreek Hill is still on this team, and
make no mistake,
under contract for the foreseeable future.
That usually happens. It's not
well,
fair.
Yeah, I got you there. The Dolphins could also
sure.
play from the aspect that, hey, if Jalen Phillips comes back healthy and just picks up right where he left off, you go and you fucking sign him now, because then you can get out of the way. You have a little bit of leverage because you've been there. He's had some injuries. You took some chances. You try
that could be something you do in the middle of the year. Sure.
To me, that a middle of the year extension on a guy like that, and you're going to save yourself a fuck ton of money.
Right, and he's not the kind of guy that's going to make a big news story out of it either. You know what I mean?
Look, it could go the other way. You wait on Phillips, and you could be pricing. You could price yourself out like you did before. To me, currently sitting, Waddle is worth a fucking ass load of money, and it's not going to change. The only way it could change is in the Dolphins' favor, but not in the team's favor, right? Where if Waddle goes down with injury. Now, I don't want that to happen. The team doesn't want that to happen. But if it did, and then it would be the same kind of scenario in which they could kind of capitalize and save themselves some money by signing Waddle, even though he's injured. You know what I'm saying? It'd be the cheapest you'll ever fucking get him. Because to me, they're going to pay an ass load of money for Waddle no matter what, unless something happens to him. Because Waddle's fucking good, and he's going to get the money. Phillips, I think. Again,
the only thing
and
I reserve the space for is a phone call, dude.
AB, if Phillips comes back and looks like he did towards the end of fucking last year and hits the ground running, he's worth $20 million. He's fucking worth $20 million. That's what premier young.
Dude, he was on pace for like 14 sacks last year when he got injured.
It wasn't just that. You've seen him in the games.
He's going to eventually get 20 sacks.
Those last couple of games he played, you were like, oh, fuck yeah, this boy's
that's what I'm saying. At bare minimum, just on mathematics, he was fucking on pace
he was fucking
like 14.
turning up. He was turning up. What's up, El Capitan? The other El Capitan.
Oh, what's up, man? Oh, Raiders fan, right?
Yeah, old Rady fan. Rady fan Raph. Capitan.
The West Coast El Capitan.
That's it. The West Side El Capitan.
Yeah.
So yeah, they gotta take advantage of stuff like that. But picking up the 5th-year option on both of these guys was not up for discussion.
Yeah, again, especially Jalen Phillips, because it's systemic. They just wouldn't do the deal while the timing is wrong because of the not just the injury, but where he's at in the injury.
Well, I mean, if you're Jalen Phillips,
total unknown.
Yeah, and if you're Jalen Phillips too, like the only contract you're getting right now, injured, is not very good. If you wait until, you know what I'm saying, like
everybody's representation. That's what I'm saying.
Everybody's on the same motherfucking
in
page.
His case, it's systemic. It's just systemic. It's like autonomic. You know what I mean?
That's right.
You can't do a deal with an injured guy like that.
Everybody on all sides are on the same motherfucking page with Jalen Phillips.
And he's a humble enough guy. Well, he'll play on his 5th. He don't care. You know.
Salute, Raph. 28 million. Debatable, AB. Debatable. Now, I could foresee him getting 28 million from the Dolphins or someone else if he comes back, hits the ground running. Dolphins don't get a deal done, and he's playing on his 5th year, and they either sign him in the 5th year in the middle of the year, or he hits free agency and fields offers from other motherfuckers. He'll get 28 or more potentially. You know what I'm saying? Just it all depends on the output as well. But let's not forget, I went over his output a little bit earlier. Just give me a second. I'll pull it back up. If I can fucking
It's 6.5
find it.
sacks, dude, in 9 games or some shit.
Yeah, but that's
8 games.
But that, like, okay, his production has been great. So, like, his rookie year, on 603 snaps, he had 42 tackles, 23 of which were solo, 8.5 sacks, and 16 QB hits, 1 pass defended, and 1 fumble recovered. As a rookie, those were his stats. If you draft a fucking a pass rusher in his rookie season and he gets a pass defense and a fumble recovery and 8.5 sacks and 23 solo tackles, you didn't miss. You know what I'm saying?
And then, in fairness, everybody would expect, and everybody said, we should expect a sophomore slump. Happens to every player, is what everybody said.
That's not what happened. That's not what happened.
Well, okay, we could say it did, but his software slump was the same numbers.
No, it wasn't, Color.
Well,
because listen to this: 2022, he had 840 fucking snaps.
Right.
240 more snaps. He had 60 tackles, 37 of which were solo, 7 sacks. He had 2 passes defended, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery.
Right.
So it's not like
sophomore slump is that he only got 7 sacks.
Yeah, a sack and a half lighter, and
right. But improved every other number.
And improved in all his other game. In 2023, in only 8 games, playing half the season, 367 snaps only. He had 43 tackles, beating his tackle total from 2021 in half the time. 28 solo tackles, 5 more solo tackles than he had his rookie season, 15 assists. He had 6.5 sacks in 8 games, 11 QB hits, 2 passes defended, and a fucking interception. In 8 games.
Right.
He was on pace to hit double digits.
For about 14 sacks.
And hit God only knows how many more solo tackles. You know what I'm saying? So, again, and I don't even have tackles for loss on this fucking stat board right here.
And since everybody else is excusing our collapse last year on injury, guess what? Jalen Phillips gets another chance. We can say he was on pace for 14 sacks.
Well, yeah. Again, earning $28 million a year, ABAB only comes with getting the 12 sacks.
I get what he's saying. Reality, not projections, but it's a fair projection to make last year, given that his season was stopped by injury, not by collapse.
Yeah. So again, if he played the entirety, because he went out after 8 games, if he played the entirety, it's easy to see how he could get to 12 sacks.
Exactly.
Just remaining the same pace.
He was
and
on
how
pace
he could
for
have
14,
how he
but
could
I
have
could easily see 12 to be conservative. Yeah.
And how he could have, 40 plus solo tackles. Which is crazy for a fucking defensive end linebacker, outside linebacker. And remember, his snap count was pretty relative to what he had in 2022. So again, these are just metrics, and who knows, he could come out and if he takes another step forward as well in the mental game and what he's doing and comfortability. I mean, look, if he comes out and only plays, say, 12 games next year, and his stats are the same as it is in 2023, the projections, that's 3 years of projections of the same type of play from him. And for me, that's a 10 plus a year sack fucking guy with getting 50, 60 tackles a year, whatever, and 30, 40 of them easily solo, plus all the other interceptions, pass defense, fucking forced fumbles. The guy is worth 20 plus million all day. So depending on how much he can pad those stats and taking step forward, a young defensive linemen getting those stats consistently is worth its weight in gold. And the Dolphins believe in that as well. Look how they're drafting Chop Robinson and doubling down and adding UDFAs and all this shit.
Now, it
and
is fair to say,
important.
It is fair to ask the question of how Phillips is, how his first step's going to be after an Achilles injury. I get that. He may never be the same again.
I think there's going to be some rust, buddy. I think we all know there's going to be some rust.
And there is the thought that nobody's ever the same again. However, it could also, none of us are doctors. It could also go the other way where where he's right back to his prime or better.
Yeah, I thought it was a great show today. Appreciate the boys coming through. Keep a lookout for some player profile episodes coming out. Obviously, the drive time with Shake Money. Just, off-season content coming at you bit by bit, thang-a-lang by thang-a-lang. Hit the like button on your way out, everybody. If you missed any of the other, breakdowns of the positions and stuff like that, go back, watch the video, scan through it, find some of the good stuff we've been talking about for the last 3 hours, and enjoy the content. Color, you got anything to say before we close up?
Yeah, I broke my coffee mug.
Damn.
So if we need I dropped it. So if we need we might need to start a GoFundMe for the $13.
Yeah, we might need to buy we might need to do coffee buy Color a cup of coffee or whatever thing. We need to do one of those, Color.
They're $13 on TFTGnetwork.com shop site.
We can do a show and we'll put the thing down there, and rather than they'll literally be able to buy you a cup of coffee now.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Exactly.
The actual cup, not the drink, but the cup. Maybe you can get the cup and the drink. Maybe you can get the matching set. I think it needs to happen.
I do want to get the new version too. But if we can't get anybody to help, then I may have to resort to going out on Forest Hill and jog and having you guys drive by and throw quarters at me.
Or you can go out on Forest Hill and jog and shake that ass, Color.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Go out there and
prostitute for a
go out there and
coffee
shake that ass, Color. You go out there and shake that money maker, Color. Come on now.
Right. AB's gonna buy me a Tua mug. I'll take a Tua mug. If somebody's gonna buy me a coffee mug, I'll always take it.
Hell yeah. Crypto, you got any closing?
Well, on to I don't know who's our next team we're playing. Indianapolis, I guess. Is that who we play first?
Sure.
We don't know yet.
Right.
The schedule has
I know. Every team, it'd be a new week. It'd be a new team. We own the Indianapolis.
On to Indianapolis, Crypto says.
Well,
next time you talk to him, be on to the Jets.
If you were on Pluto, it would only take you a week to see your team win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. Just
Color's doing way too much fucking math. Ali.
There we go.
Wait, real quick, Ali, before you do that, let me go ahead. There goes Color again right there, fucking on one.
I'll have to meet me in the back, El Cap. I got a new one for you.
Oh, you do? Oh my god!
Yeah, it's something that happened last night. I already kind of started working on it. You can ask.
This was good.
Okay, all right. Okay, fucking listen, boys. I'm on it. We will talk.
I'm gonna give my take so we can close this thing down. You know what?
Alrighty.
Make sure you hit like and subscribe and check out the duct tape. It's off the charts.
Yep.
All right. Yep. And with that, guys, we'll see you next time. We'll see you guys next time. The Fins Tailgate, El Capitan, Color, Crypto,
Fins
Ali, all the family here at Tailgate. Appreciate everybody coming through. Hit the like button, subscribe, donate, become a member. We'll see you guys next time. Fins up.